So hello everybody and welcome to the channel Bob Sales this times next year. So today we're going to do a VeVe catch up with my good friend Dukkencuvva. Hello my friend, how are you?
How you all doing, folks?
It's good to see you. I don't know
Pleasure
whether it's
to be
going to be
here.
quiet in here today or not so quiet in here. We have no idea. Welcome Slider, I can see you in the chat there. It's good to see some early comers. So what should we talk about? Let's talk all things VeVe in this video, I think.
Oh, well, like you said, let's start off with this LOL drop.
Yeah, so I'll just pull that up. Give me 2 seconds. Again, I'm useless at doing StreamYard. So let's see if I can get it up. It's been a while since I've used StreamYard like this. So can you see my screen?
Give me a second.
Let me go back
here?
to StreamYard. There we go. Yeah, my screen's up. So just go through this quick drop with you. And this is going to be the little surprise drop. So I'm just going to read through the article as quick as I can. I haven't actually seen the article yet. So it'd be interesting to read through. And then I'll get your overall thoughts, my overall thoughts. And we'll see how we'll go with that. Now, starting off, as you can see, with that picture, it actually looks pretty good. They actually look really good quality. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah,
so let's start this off. So, low surprise. Oh my God. Who's Slate all day are dropping in blind box waitlist format Sunday, 9th of June, 8 a.m. PT, which of course is 4 p.m. UK time. So that is, of course, tomorrow. So let's have a look at the additions, the mints.
And we always all go off British time because they are, of course, Great Britain.
So let's have a quick look at what's going on with this one. So that is the first variant, and that's going to be the common. That is Royal B. Again, the collectible looks really nice. Not my sort of thing to collect, I must admit, although we will talk about that after. So we'll take a quick look at the drops first. So this is a common variation. The list price of this collectible is going to be 18 gems. Additions is going to be 3,332. This is a common variation. All of these are going to be first appearance. And the first available public edition for mint is going to be 21. So let's have a look. Sorry, I just moved that bottle out of my way in my camera. So the next one's the uncommon there, Lady Diva. Let's have a look at this one. Again, the list price is 18 gems, 2,135 editions minted. This is the uncommon. Again, they're all going to be first appearances. Let's have a look at the next one. I've got some thoughts on all of these. I'm noticing something with all of these so far. So the next one is going to be the rare. This one's swag. This is the rare variation. So the list price again is 18 gems. Editions of 1,150 editions. And again, let's go down. This is a secret rare. This is 24K DJ. So let's have a quick look at this one. List price for this one again is going to be 18 gems with a low edition size of 205. That is a very, very low edition. And this is a secret rare. And again, the first edition for public sale is going to be 21. So let's have a look, because now this is getting interesting. So by looks of it, we've got an ultra rare. This is going to be the craft variation. So let me just have a quick read through this. So with this one, the craft price is free. There's only going to be 478 editions. This is the ultra rare. So with the crafting details, to be eligible to craft this, users will need to hold 3 Royal B collectibles, 1 Lady Diver collectible, which all will be burned during the crafting process. So they're all going to burn. You're going to lose all them collectibles. That is a bit random. So you're going to have to hold 3 Royal Bs and 1 Lady Diver. Okay, that's a bit different. So this is a free crafting event. However, you will need to use 5,000 MCP. So you need to use your MCP points as well. So that's interesting. So obviously, if you're a newcomer and you've got no MCP, you won't actually be able to craft this. So this, I suppose, rewards holders, I suppose. So let's have a look. A total of 50 editions across each rarity. Well, each common and uncommon rarities. 40%. Let me have a read of that. So a total of 50 editions across each rarity of the common and uncommon will be kept by VeVe and a licensed source. I know that's wrong. No, that is right. 40 rare will be kept, 30 ultra rares will be kept, and 20 of the secret rares will be withheld by VeVe and a licensed source. And it's 40% reservations will be allocated to waitlist people for using the MCP bidding. But you need to use it for the craft, the way I read that, right? Let me just have a look. Is there anything else I'm missing? So first off, the actual items themselves, I have a couple of thoughts on them. So this one actually reminds me of Scary Spice. I'm not going to lie, from the Spice Girls. That's exactly what it reminds me of. And it's a good quality collectible by looks of it. None of these are animated neither. Let's go down to the next one. Again, with this one, it kind of reminds me of Lady Gaga in a kind of way. Not sure, but it kind of reminds me of that sort of sense in a way. This one reminds me of Christina Aguilera with her hair braided. I don't know
I'd have
why,
said the same thing.
but that's exactly what that reminds me of. So yeah, I kind of think all of these have looks based on people. She actually kind of reminds me of a Scooby-Doo person. That one.
No, yeah, she reminds me of the girl from what is it? Oh shit, what's that movie? We've already got it on VeVe. The Spanish thing. Anyway, moving right along.
So yeah, they're all 18. So they're all 18 gems to collect or to buy in the marketplace. I don't think that's a bad price. So I'm not sure if anyone knows about these dolls. Do you know anything about these dolls? Because I do, but I'm not sure what they're like.
No, I do. My daughter has been collecting these for a long time. There's about 20 of them in my house right now. And speaking on that, I got to say, after looking at the sort of like showcase video of it, the quality is 10 out of 10. Like 100% exactly what it should be. That's my opinion on it. I don't like LOL dolls personally. I don't really like the image they portray, all that sort of stuff. But my daughter digs it. And as far as the IP is enormous. Honestly, I think this will probably do better than the Blackpink stuff, just because it's so big in the United States, in the UK, in Australia. It's a kind of a Western thing, you know. Well, so I do expect this to do better than Blackpink.
Well, it's like the Blackpink. We'll get into that after, I think, because that should have went better. I think that could have. There was ways that could have been better, and I think VeVe kind of dropped the ball a little bit with that one. That should have been better. I think they made too many additions, too many of each item, all the same poses, and I think the end result should have been a song on the stage where you could use your little light stick to be in the audience. I
disagree with you on one thing there. You said the edition sizes were too big. Honestly, I expected them to be 4 times that. I was expecting like 10,000 editions on this thing.
Well, the editions weren't so bad. I actually expected the first one to sell out just based off the excitement around the drop itself. And I knew as the week went on, they would sell less because not everyone's got money to go for every single craft, every single item. So I knew the first one would sell out, but then even then it really did it? But we'll get into that in a way.
But, yeah, well, because that really sort of like leads us to deeper problems with VeVe.
So,
which we will get into, but not straight away. You know,
let's talk about this drop first. So with this drop, again, being from the UK, these are kind of cheaper items around the UK. So I'm happy to see the price is 18 gems. I actually kind of like that. I expected if it was going to be 25 gems, I thought it might struggle a little bit. And the collectibles themselves look really good. But they are all over. But they are all over.
Sorry to jump in there, Bob, but I gotta say that at that point we say there's an 18 gem price point. Like I said, my daughter is into this stuff. The same thing in a shop for a physical is going to be $30-40 easy.
The only thing is you can get all sorts of types of these, but I can get them here in the UK pretty cheap. They're not big branded items. And I think the fact you can get them so cheap and the fact that parents obviously buy excess and stuff for Christmases and stuff, I think that helps because that means they're in more households around the world, if that makes sense. But let me ask you this. So for VeVe, we're an over 18 app right now. You have to be over 18 to be in the app. So do you think we have the right crowd to buy these dolls? Because I personally don't think, because there's not too many women in the space. There's some, but there's not as many as there is men. Now, for this item, they're not related to movies and stuff like that. They're literally a collectible doll. Now, if you've got kids, I can understand maybe you'd buy them for that reason. But I think this one's going to struggle even with the price point. The fact the collectibles look so good, though, actually helps them. I do like that. And then the craft is pretty unique because it's kind of rewarding holders with the whole MCP thing. Because if you're brand new to VeVe, obviously you wouldn't be able to craft the item first up.
Well, what I was saying in response to that is it doesn't matter men or women is irrelevant. It's children. Children
There was
cannot
that as
buy
well.
things on VeVe. So this point, this drop is well, it's just it's dead from the beginning.
I just
Now,
think that's why it was struggle. But then obviously with the last one, the additions are really, really. Let me get back to that screen.
I'm happy with the additions. To be honest, I'm quite
the additions are
surprised
quite
by
good.
how small the additions are.
Yeah, and like I say, these are mass produced quite a lot. So I'm quite happy with the additions here.
Yeah, and don't doubt it. If you don't have kids, you won't get it. But if you do, you'll realize just how big this brand is. This brand is enormous. This
It's
really
definitely
is
a big brand.
huge, man.
Now, do
It
you know what?
surprises me to hear you say that you can get them cheap in the UK, because here, like, I've been to toy shops to buy these for my daughter. I've never seen them for less than like $30.
It's a
30, 40 bucks.
that literally leads into exactly what I was going to ask you. So, do you know what a brat stole is?
Yeah, I know what brats are. I never bought them. My daughter was never into them, but I know what they are. Yeah.
Right. So, UK, that was kind of the first type of dolls where they kind of pushed the boat out. It wasn't as neat as Barbie was the whole time. Barbie's kind of neat, kind of tidy, whereas all these dolls, the fashion accessories and stuff were a bit more extreme. The outfits were a bit more extreme, kind of like the Bratz dolls. Whereas even with the big eyes, that reminds me of the Bratz dolls. So here, I think people see it as kind of a cheaper version of Bratz dolls, because Bratz dolls in the UK were really big. And
that's funny because it's the other way around here. Here in Switzerland, at least, we sort of see Bratz as kind of a rip-off of LOL.
No, see, Bratz, the way I see it anyway, I always knew of Bratz first. We should look that up, see which one come out first, because I'm not 100% sure which one come out first. Because if obviously the LOL dolls come out first, then they probably, Bratz obviously copied them. So you might be right. We should actually check that up.
Well, you know, I can only speak on my own experience, and on my experience, LOL in the area where I live, the girls who go to school with my daughter and all that, LOL is way bigger than Bratz.
See, I'm a 90s kid, so for me growing up, I see Bratz dolls a lot. I had a couple of sisters and stuff. That and trolls. Used to have a lot of trolls. That would be cool to get trolls. I don't know if you've ever seen the little troll dolls.
Oh yeah, I know troll dolls, but that's a waste of time. There's not a single child on this planet who still gives a shit about that.
You're true, but then the thing with toy collecting and toy collecting market is you get by 10, 11, you're playing with the toys. By 16, 17, you start getting a bit of money. You maybe start to find them toys, cherish the toys. And then by 20, you start buying back some of the toys. And then by about 40, I would say you start selling the toys. But you should start selling them around 35, because that's when the interest audience starts to change. Because every 20 years, you can imagine every 20 years, you play with your toys at 10. And then after you get to the age of 20, 25, you start looking for them toys again, if you're that sort of person anyway. And so the market kind of moves with that each time. So each year, depending on when you were born, the toys. It's like tin toys. They're not worth so much now because there's not so many people around to remember them. Whereas before, that was a big market.
I'm talking about timelines. A lot of the brands that we've got on VeVe are nostalgic for us. We got Voltron, we got Astro Boy, we got all these things that are nostalgic for us. By the time the kids now who are into LOL dolls have money, this is going to be a nostalgia brand for them.
I've got an Astro Boy over here, I think. Yeah, look.
Very nice. Man, I grew up on Astro Boy. I was obsessed with Astro Boy as a kid.
I had never really heard of Astro Boy, I must admit, till the drop come out. And then one day, literally the same week, I brought a job lot of toys from the auction, and that was in the box. And I was just like, how mad is that? It was a crazy coincidence. Crazy. Same as
what's funny is that, like, it was only
same as
because
they dropped like a week before or something, and then the next week I found a bunch of them in a box what I randomly brought for other toys in the box. It was quite cool.
Oh, it's the best. It's the best. But you know, one thing I didn't realize until VeVe released Astro Boy, which is kind of the fake Astro Boy. That's not the proper Astro Boy. He's not my Astro Boy in any case. But I didn't realize that Astro Boy was actually the first manga and the first anime. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's crazy.
I actually made a wicked video on that. That was one of the
Yeah, I
first.
saw that. That was a good video.
That was a good video, but it was a quick one but then also made other videos, and the same creator. I can't remember his name now. Well, I can, but I can't say it. And I struggled to say it in the video. And at the time of saying it in the video, I remember having to re-record that name 100 times. The worst bit about making the history videos, everyone out there, I'm telling you, the worst bit is trying to pronounce the names, especially with me.
Really?
So I've got a lisp. You don't hear it very often, but when I'm making them videos, because it's like the positive bobsales voice, kind of the Mr. Beast voice, if you like, the positive, over positive voice. So you hear it more that way. And some words I try to say are harder because I'm kind of shouting at the top of my voice when I'm making them videos.
Do people pull you up on that?
Not really. I've never been, not once. And there's been a couple of good slip ups in there where you can hear I've proper slurred on it, and not once. But
all right, well, that's something then. No, you can't be doing that bad.
I think someone pulled me up once I made a mistake slightly in the video. I had a fact wrong, but then it was the source material I used. I normally check three different sources each time I make one of them videos, so I know it's 100% right. And that time I used a source material and it was wrong. And then I spent probably 2 days correcting the source material, making it right, the video, because I had to re-record the whole video because I noticed some of it was wrong after the fact. But this was before I'd released the video. And then the one bit I'd left in there, someone picked up on it and they're like, that's incorrect.
Well, I've got to say,
I'd rather also someone point out, if you're incorrect, I'd rather someone say it, because if they tell you, you can fix it or you can do something about it, or it's there in the comment section to say this is wrong, which is fair enough. I'd rather be right 100% of the time. You've got to be right with these things.
On that subject, I've been saying that for like 6 months or more. But I felt very validated when I heard the superstars say it about a week or two ago in one of their videos that you are the new VeVe in 3, man. You're the new rhubarb.
So I'm behind on commenting on every single video, but I've still been watching every single video. That's the funny thing. But recently I've been so busy with the work, so busy with tripping and a bunch of personal stuff. So I do apologize, but yeah, I'm still making the videos. And just on that note as well, let me just pause up and cover him. Oh, no, I won't pause him. He's fine. Yeah. He does need to mute himself, though. Oh, no, he's back. But yeah, I have actually sorted the editor because I made a Pokemon video 3 days ago and I paid for the editor. It was my turn to pay. And then the payment went through, but then it got returned and then I paid again and then I paid again and then I paid again. And then before you know it, it actually got stuck in the editor. So 3 days later, I finally got the editor working again, got the video ready. So I was going to release it today, but obviously we're doing this now, so there's no point releasing it today. So I released it tomorrow, and that was pulling the new Pokemon Masquerade. That was a really good video. And some of the cards, they're undervalued right now, so they're worth keeping. Anyway.
Can you give us a little bit of a preview of that? Because I got no idea what you're talking about there. Pokemon what?
Masquerade. So I pulled some really good cards. I'm not sure. So that was one of the cards I pulled on the stream the other day. Obviously, the stream is going to come out. I think it's scheduled for 11 p.m. later. But depending on how many people watch this stream, I might just leave this one up for a day and then do the next video tomorrow, if that makes sense. But I pulled some wicked cards out of that set. And it's funny because that set, it come out, it's just been released, brand new. And the booster boxes and everything, the booster bundles and everything get 38 packs in a box. And normally they're £170 a box. And this time they come out, they were £110, which they automatically dropped price as soon as they were released. And there was another set coming out 2-3 days later. So they may have been overshadowed a little bit. So even though the values are not so good on the cards right now, they will pick up.
Good stuff.
But yeah, it was a good video. But I tried this time. I normally live stream them, but this time I wanted to cut out some of the boringness or some of the, the long bits of the video and try and edit it a little bit. It come out okay. Well, it come out good video actually. I enjoyed the video anyway. But yeah, the editing was quite good, but not the normal sort of editing I like to do. I like to do the movie videos, the whole like history videos. They're my favorite videos. But if you're gonna open
That's what you're
250,
good at, man.
if
And
you're gonna
without blowing
open
smoke up your ass, I haven't
£250
seen a
worth of
video of yours
Pokemon
I didn't
cards,
like.
it's like if you're gonna open that many Pokemon cards, you may as well stream it.
Yeah,
It don't get you a lot of views because this is a VeVe channel, but it's fun to stream. We're all collectors, so a bit of nostalgia in there, so it's been good. But yeah, go on, carry on, mate. Sorry.
No, all I was saying is that look, every video I've seen from you has been a good one. Your history, yeah, your deep dives and all that. Man, you do a good job of that. I haven't seen one yet that I haven't liked.
Yeah, no, they're fun to make, actually. They're really fun to make. They're long to make, but they're fun to make, especially when you watch the ending, because even I watch all of them to make sure there's no mistakes going through the video. So yeah, let's bring up some of the people anyway. So Slider, welcome to the stream. Thank you, brother, for being here like always. Doctor Strange, if you don't watch Doctor Strange, you should. He's a great live content streamer as well. He used to do the comic books. I think he's still doing them. I'm not 100% sure, but he's a great streamer even so. And one of my good friends.
Is that the guy that OG used to pull up all the time to see if he's stacking or slacking? He did the stacking or slacking, right?
That's the one. But then I think he's gone into more the live side of it as well. So
okay, cool.
But he's a good streamer, good bloke, and quite funny as well. Good laugh. Then we've got Cider. My daughter loves this. I've spent hundreds of dollars probably on these. Now they're getting hundreds on the digital.
So you got what, like 3?
I spent hundreds on these dolls. So I'm not sure whether you got dollars, pounds. I think it's probably dollars.
I mean, those things are expensive here.
The balls go for about that is exactly correct. So here they're probably £10 for one of them big balls. So $9. It's roughly the same price, to be honest.
Man, I gotta get you to start sending me that shit. That's like $30-40 over here.
Yeah, so they are cheap, yeah. But you're living in a weird country, I must admit. I watched a video on YouTube the other day. You always complain about how expensive it is over there. And then I watched a video on YouTube the other day, and it's expensive over there. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Damn straight it is.
So Dukkencuvva is in Switzerland right now, and it is expensive over there. I'm not gonna lie. They always said about how expensive rent and drinks and stuff were. It's expensive.
Oh mate, you got no idea. We earn well, though, so, it's a nice balance.
That is a nice balance. And I did see McDonald's workers even earn well over there. So
you
kind of equals itself out when you look at it that way.
But, concerning these LOL dolls, one thing I will say is that I saw the little preview they did where they show you the 3D model. Man, these things are top-notch quality, straight up.
Definitely good quality. I'm not going to argue with that. Definitely good quality.
One of the best ones on the app, and I've got no fear saying that.
I don't think they're going to sell out just because.
Nor do I.
Just because the majority of us are I would say probably 75 to 80% male, could be higher than that. And I do think the older women will buy these just because it will bring a bit of nostalgia. They probably won't know about that. I mean, look, I still think they're going to like these just because they're a woman's collectible, well, a girl's collectible, if that makes sense.
I don't see it happening.
I'm not sure they're going to sell it out. That's the only thing I would say.
The only thing that makes me think that they might sell out, or at least sell more than they usually would, is that the chaser has such limited numbers and it's part of the drop. Like the craft item has almost double the amount as the secret rare, which is part of the drop. So I think they may sell out with people just trying to get their hands on that, especially with such low numbers. What is it, like 200 and something?
Yeah, so the secret rares, I think it was 209 or something like that. But it's very low, and everyone loves the gamble and VeVe. That's the other thing.
Here's the problem with that. The problem is that it's not selling out because it's a good IP and people want it. It's selling out because people want the chaser and they want to flip it. And this leads into a much bigger problem with VeVe. But there's a couple of things I want to touch on tonight. Right? We've done the lighthearted stuff. We might not be done with that, but we are going to get into some heavy stuff at some point. But I do need to duck out for 30 seconds if you don't mind.
That's fine. So I'm just going to have a look in the comment section here. Do you want me to pause you for a second, or are you going to pause yourself?
Yeah.
I'll remove you for a second. When you're back, let me know and I'll pull you up. So let's have a quick look in here, see who's in here. So Cider, again, welcome, mate. It's good to see you. It's been a long time I've done one of these live streams, I must admit. Let's go, my favorite positive person. It's good to see you, my friend. And congratulations on the new job. It's well deserved. You've definitely always been one of the better members of the community, always non-stop putting out content as well. So congratulations. And you've given me a lot of good gifts over the years, always been my friend over the years. So yeah, it's been good to see you put in a good position. Let's have a look. Hey, Doctor, how you doing? Dr. Strange, wall up my collectibles. Good to see you, Doctor. Same with you, my friend. Micey, how's it going? OG Vault, Sup, Doc, and Bob. It's good to see you, OG Vault. Also one of the best content creators we have out here. Also one of the first content creators we have out here. So when I first joined VeVe, that was the one stream you needed 100,000,000% because the drop tips and everything were on point and they were always updated. So welcome. Zombie Attack News, it's good to see you. I have 2 kids, even though my 11 and 6-year-old outgrew them. I will get them in the vault for when the girls get older. They might have some value long term. Hold on these for me. So with these, they're not the most collectible things in the world for me. But they are played with a lot. That's one of the big things. And like I said, here in the UK, they're not exactly the most expensive items in the world. But that's not always a bad thing, because if they're not expensive, that means more people have access to buy them, if that makes sense. So let's go through. What up, OG Vault? Everyone's saying hi to Vault. My C. Congratulations. Not congratulations. Hello, even. Sup, Doctor. Good to be here. It's good to be back as well. So I am keeping up with the content. I have been traveling a lot recently, so that has kind of got in the way just a tiny little bit, but I'm still here. I've also got a Pokemon card coming up after this video, so that's been great as well. So let's have a look and see what else I can find on the VeVe page right now. So let's have a look. Sorry for this. I'm just going off a random stream right now. I did want to bring up the London police again. Also, we did do a music live space the other day on Twitter. Now, the music sounded absolutely terrible, but it was a wicked idea. I've always wanted to do it, and music's always been one of my #1 things. So I always wanted to do that, I must admit. Here's Dukkencuvva back. Welcome,
I'm
mate.
back.
Sorry about
Sorry,
that.
mate.
I'm just looking through the VeVe feed right now, so give me 2 seconds.
I apologize for that, folks, but I do have a child, and yeah, I got to deal with that.
Let me just pull this up 1 second. Just sharing everything. So let's talk Blackpink. Should we talk Blackpink next?
Well, I don't have much to say about it. I'm a little bit disappointed about the way it went. I can't say I'm super surprised. I am a little surprised. I really expected that it would do better. And, like I've got into a couple of Blackpink groups on Facebook, and looking at the stats, the popularity, how many people follow this group and the kind of accolades they've achieved as a group and as individuals. It's, I'm not going to lie, it's kind of discouraging to look at the numbers of the people who follow them and then to see what happened with VeVe. That's a kind of a bit of a red flag for me. That really tells me that these guys, the fans of Blackpink, don't give one red razoo about these digital collectibles. They couldn't care less about it. And that's kind of scary, because that's like, we're talking about hundreds of millions, even billions of people.
It was a lot of people.
And we couldn't get a couple of thousand to sell this out.
Well,
That's scary, man.
Definitely the market, the activity on the wallets definitely picked up, because that was proven. And then also the Twitter following went up 20K, I believe, within the week of that drop. So it did.
Yeah, but how reliable are those numbers really? I mean,
well, the numbers definitely went up. So I can only say that. But the thing I would say was, I honestly think the end result should have been, when you put them all together, you got the one Blackpink Venom song, or whatever the song was. I think it was Black Venom. So I think that should have been the end result after you put everything together. It's a lot of money you would have spent. So if you was to collect every single item, you were to craft every single item, you were to get 2 cards for each character, 1 to craft and burn, and then 1 to keep. I think that was $800 at the time for what the market value was.
There we go. Vault
maybe a bit low, maybe a bit lower than that, but I think that would have been worthy of that slight animated performance. And I'm not saying you have to put the collectibles on the stage, make them dance or anything like that. Obviously, that could be a bit
but they
advanced.
could have.
But I think you could just make a digital video of that one performance. I think that could be doable. I think you could, if you put them all on the stage, then it zooms you into a video and you're watching a Blackpink digital performance kind of thing.
Absolutely.
With the collectibles in the styles, I think you could do that. I mean, even
what you were talking about earlier, right?
Let's think about this. So VeVe Vault, the beginning of his videos, well, OG Vault now, sorry. So the beginning
was in the chat, just by the way.
Yeah, so the beginning of his videos, he has the NFTs dancing. So
yeah.
So he made so you could have them animated and dancing. So all you got to do is get the rights to the music. Whereas I think if you're selling this, that could have been included in the whole deal, and I think that would have been cool in itself. But then obviously they want to sell their music, but the song was, I think, a year old maybe. So by that point, the video already had 4-point-something billion views. It's already released. So all it's going to do is add to the collectability of the song at that point. It's not like you're selling something to less of a crowd than you can get mainstream, if that makes sense.
Well, here's my thing about the Blackpink drop. For a start, compared to what's being released now, like I know that this deal was done like a couple of years ago, and technology was different and all that, but the quality, you compare that with the quality of things you're seeing on McFarlane, it is way subpar to start with. Secondly, the way they did it, where you have to pay out the ass to get the chasers, that was ridiculous. I'm sorry.
The only thing, yeah, so I would say with a drop like this, if you could have done the price point at a cheaper price point, I get everyone has to get paid, it's got to go around, but I think if you'd have done it a bit of a lower price point for all of these collectibles, and I think if you'd have done 2 editions rather than 4 editions and then the 2 crafts, I think the 2 crafts were fine, but if you'd have done 4 total, so 2 normal editions and then 2 for the craft, if that makes sense, so 2 gold and silver. I think that would have went down fine, but I think the 4 of each was a bit too much. And I also didn't really like the Lisa one. So the only one I don't like out of them is Lisa with the neck thing. I'm not sure.
Don't like that.
And the best thing was when I've heard of Blackpink, so I'm obviously not a fan, but I've heard of Blackpink before. I've heard of them mentioned. BTS is quite popular around England as well. So that whole K-pop thing come to England, and a lot of people were crazy about it. So I know what it was, but I wasn't that interested to listen to myself. Not my sort of thing. But then when I made that video, I had a new appreciation because the training they went through and everything else. So it was
fine.
pretty
but
cool.
Listen, here's the thing, right? This is an enormous IP. And the editions were low. What was the maximum? It was like 3,000-4,000 for the common, something like that.
Yeah, but then you got nothing. But then the price point, and then you've got to buy each character.
The fact that you have to buy
and there's another 4
many
characters coming, and I think even outside the stadium as well. I think the stadium should have been free. I don't think that should have been.
Give me a second, man.
Even a stadium, 50 gems.
Even outside that, the fact that we couldn't get 3,000 people to come in and sell out a drop out of the billions of fans that they got, that is scary. That's scary, man. That is a big sign that nobody gives a toss, at least for now. Like, I'm not saying that this is a permanent thing. People might get interested in a couple of years, hopefully. But for now, to have such an enormous IP with such a huge following and you can't sell a couple of thousand of them, alarm bells are ringing, Willie.
And I'm not going to disagree with you. But I think if they'd have made these items cheaper to purchase, less items of each pose, I think that would have done better.
Yeah.
That's where I think the ball was dropped. I think the
Oh,
whole
look,
promotion, the marketing, all was on point. Obviously, 20K going up, followers, the activity on the wallets went up. But again, did anyone purchase the drop?
hey, did
And I think the
Double Quill?
drop was fine. I
I
think the
think Double Quill
collectibles are
just dropped
fine as
you
well.
a super chat, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't have that in here, I don't think.
I don't know how that works, but she's showing up in blue. Anyway, hi, Double Quill.
No, that means she's a mod. No, let me have a look. Showing up in blue. I'm not sure what you're talking about. She's showing normal my side. But yeah, it's good to
Anyway,
see you, Double Quill, my good friend. If you haven't seen her blogs, you should read them. There's always truth in them, always a bit of sarcasm, and it's actually a really good read. And for someone that don't really read, I've now got about 3 books in my life. So that is actually, she actually makes some really good stuff. The
I'm
price is too
ashamed of
high for
myself
entry
because
level people.
I do sort of like,
That is exactly true. So Double Quill made a good point there. The price is too high for entry level, and new people coming to the app. I think if you make something cheaper, you're more likely to hit the button on that. The more the price is for someone that don't understand the technology, don't understand the app, don't understand the whole space, or that you can buy and sell these sort of things, I think it was a bit of a high price to ask. So.
well, for me, it's not even the price point. It's just the fact that you had to buy so many to make anything happen. I think that was unreasonable, personally.
Well, I personally think they should have had the end result should have been literally an animated performance. They do it in
They should have done that.
they
And
do it
that's
in
one thing I wanted to
Fortnite
say
all the time.
before. Hang on.
Travis Scott animated thing in there. Post Malone's done an animated performance
Yeah,
in
but
there.
that's what I wanted to say before, Bob, is I wanted to touch on the fact that this is something the superstars have covered. And you were talking earlier about Brass, right? And they've released their NFTs. What is it, with Sandbox or something like that?
Yeah, probably.
And they're animated, they dance, they do all these kind of things. They're all like, very dynamic. And we can't do that. Why not? Why
Would
not?
you
Why can't we do that with Blackpink?
well, according to VeVe, it's about the licensors, what they're willing to let you do to the collectibles, if that
Yeah,
makes
well, I'm
sense.
sorry, but I'm tired of hearing those bullshit excuses from them, man. Yeah, it's the licenses who won't let it be interoperable.
But
Boom, cryptotoys hits you in the fucking nuts.
it's
Stop
not
it.
language.
Sorry.
No, it's all right. You never know who's watching with their kids right now.
Yeah, fair enough.
Saying that
Oh,
it's
man.
an over
It's
18
getting
channel.
annoying, though.
It does
Would you
say that.
agree?
But no, I agree. But one of the other things I want to talk about, so let's move this on a little bit. But yeah, I think that could have been done better. And if you're critical, you should always give a way to fix the problem. And my way to fix this problem, I would have said cheaper prices for new people to look at and think, what's $10? I can put $10 on something that's not going to hurt me. It's not going to kill my future or anything. It's $10, right? Everyone pays a drink. Everyone buys coffee, Subway, whatever you want to do. And then I think the edition should have been less. Well, not the edition sizes. I think the poses should have been less. 2 of each and then 2 craft poses. I think that was
I
sound
think
as
that
it
would have
was.
been good. Yeah,
And
I
I
agree
also
with
think
that.
the stadium should have been a free item, not a purchase for 50 gems. Because I
Well, it
remember that.
certainly should have been a
I
lot
remember
cheaper.
that was 50 gems, I think it was, if I'm not
I'd have been
mistaken.
happy to
And
pay 15, 20 gems for that. But 50?
and I was pretty shocked at the 50 gems for that, I must admit. And then the light stick was actually pretty cool because it was created by the girls themselves. They had input in making the light stick. So the design fault was none of VeVe's on that. That was definitely
I
that
like
was
the
an
light stick. I
actual.
like the idea of it. I thought they nailed the light stick personally. I mean, I know it's not something that people on VeVe right now are interested in. Fair enough. But given what the IP is and what that signifies and all that, on the light stick, I think I'm the only one who actually thinks that they got the numbers and the price right.
Well, I weren't too bothered about the numbers for this drop. I actually, like I said to you earlier, I actually thought the first one would sell out. I knew they would struggle later on in the week, but the hype was real. And normally, when you see hype like that with the VeVe community itself, if they know there's potentially another market where it's going to happen, it's going to blow up. Like I'll say Lamborghini, for instance. That's a good example. We all knew that was going to take off. Everyone's going to want Lamborghini at some point, so we all bought the Lamborghinis pretty much. And that's kind of what it reminds me of. We just go to the
Yeah, I
feed.
can
I'm just
see.
going to have a quick look at the feed quickly. Bear with me. Go on, mate. Carry on.
But you talk about what did you just say right now about other markets?
Sorry, I'm just on Twitter having a quick look at what else is coming up. Just having a quick look. I know one thing I did want to ask you. Have you used the VeVe comic reader app or the comic app, the new separate
Mate,
app
I
they've
don't. I
made?
don't buy comics on VeVe. I don't touch them.
Well, that's a no then.
Mate, I have 4 comics, and all of them are Ron English's one.
So I'm
All
300
propaganda.
comics, I believe. I'm just going to log into VeVe 2 seconds and pull that up. Let me pull that up. Sorry, I'm not sharing my screen right now, am I? Yes, I
No,
am.
look, I was never a comic fan growing up, and I started to collect comics on VeVe. I had a couple of hundred of them, in fact, but it came to the point where I just realized that every purchase I make is based on somebody else's opinion. I don't know anything about these characters. I don't know anything about these comics. It's not my world. So I'm investing based on somebody else's say-so. And I decided that wasn't a good idea. So I just dumped all my comics and put it into collectibles because this is what I know. I've always collected figurines and things like that. Yeah,
Well, the
no,
collectibles.
given the up until now, we've been sold the idea that these things are going to be, they're going to have some utility in the VeVe-verse. I kind of figured that, well, I mean, what utility can comics have in there outside of posters on the wall?
So the thing is, I've always told everyone on my channel, like from the start. I remember we had a lot of channels where we had rabbit breeding, we had speculation about Disney NFTs giving you tickets to the park and stuff like this. And a lot of it was pretty far-fetched at the time. The rabbits breeding wasn't far-fetched because that was an actual idea we found out later on in the space about because I think Frank actually said about it in the Twitter space before. It's pretty funny actually. But
Yeah, I remember that.
yeah, so with all of that sort of stuff, I always try to stay away from the speculating, and because I always believe you should buy what you can see. So if you're buying something right now as it is, I don't think you should think that you should be entitled to that to be added to, if that makes sense. If I buy a toy at the shop, for instance, I don't then expect it to then start dancing for me or go 100 million different ways or get me
Okay.
credits for renting it out later on. I buy it because I like the thing. And again, there's also a buying and selling thing with VeVe. That's how I started VeVe. I'm not going to lie to you. That was the main reason. You could literally go for any drop, you double your money straight away. That was always literally, you could get any variation at one point, and you could, for a year straight, we was all living the dream, I must admit, with that, which is what got us all into VeVe. But at this point, if you're still here, you've one of them people that's adapted to the whole situation, and you're here now for the love of it and the potential of it. We all know it's got the potential, and out of everyone going, there's a lot of good companies out here. VeVe is definitely still far ahead, but then they're also, the one problem with VeVe is, so what I would say, so before this year started, VeVeverse was released, beta testers were in there and stuff, and it was like, it's going to come out before Christmas. We've heard it's going to come out before that. It's going to come out before that. That's fair enough. But this time we heard it's going to come out before Christmas. I mean, it is the 6th month so far this year, and I've still not got my invitation to it. A lot of other people, the silence has gone wrong. So whether the beta testers found something that was wrong in there, and that's why we've all not got it yet. But it just seems that the one problem is they need to start producing the steps now.
And hence, all right, this is where we get to the part of the conversation where it starts to turn bearish because I got some stuff to say.
It's not bearish. It's just
no. Well, you haven't heard what I got to
it's
say
not
yet.
bearish though. You've got
You
to
haven't
be.
heard what I got to say.
You've got to think, right. So we're all here because we want the best for
Oh,
VeVe,
yeah,
for
absolutely.
our
I'm
investments,
for
for
VeVe. I'm a
our
VeVe
items.
bull.
We all
Absolutely.
started this because we believed in the company. We
Yeah.
believed in the founders. I mean, me and you have had some wicked personal
Funny how
moments
you
with
use
some
the
of the
past
founders
tense
and
when you
stuff
say
like
that.
but we've always been like that. It's not like that. But no,
Well,
we've
hey,
always
look,
been
like I
like
said,
that.
I got
The
I
whole
got some
thing
things to
is
say,
we're here because we all believe in the same goal. All of us have made
and
so
I
many,
do as
like
well.
me and
I
you,
do as
we've
well.
been to Paris together. We're soon, well, we was going to go to Amsterdam, but that will come another time.
Mhm.
I'm welcome to stay at so many houses around the world, and we all bonded over one thing. So everything you say is to help the company, not to fuck the
Absolutely. Look, I
company.
want to
If that
make it
makes
clear. I'm going to say some things that are negative. I am going to say those things, but I just want everybody to know, to be clear, that I'm a VeVe bull. I'm here for the long run. I'm all in on VeVe, all right? But, you know, like there's no point sticking your head in the sand either. But before I get into
Yes.
that, I think maybe it's a good idea to get to the chat because I'm seeing a lot of long comments here.
Oh yeah, I need to catch up on them. I do
Yeah,
apologize,
get into
everyone.
that. We'll get through the chat and then I'll get into my stuff.
No worries, Dr. Fuse. Good to see you. What's up to my friends in
Hey, Dr.
England? Hope to see you
Fuse,
soon.
legend. How you going,
You're
man?
always welcome in England. It's good to see you, my friend. It's like 8:30 for us now. I'm about 2 whiskeys down, even though I'm supposed to be keeping this correct over here. Someone's got to keep Dukkencuvva under control. No, I'm
Nobody can
joking.
do it. He thinks he can do it. He can't do it.
It's a good laugh, though. Let me have a look. Let me have a look. What else have we got in here? The price point was too high. Zombie Attack News agrees. I love the drop head picture, by the way. That's how me and Dukkencuvva first.
Hey, look at your drop head.
We were
Yeah, he's
literally
boss.
we were literally talking about that earlier, about how we met. That was literally how we met, and now we've had life experiences and everything else together, and we're like best mates. So anyway, the price point was too high. Got 2 golden statues crafted, $20, waiting for the other golden statues to drop 60 or lower, which is a good idea. I feel the actual drop should have been 30 USD. So yeah, I think it should have been a bit cheaper, but then less variations of each character as well. If they'd have done one pose of each one, 100,000,000%, every single one of them would have sold out, I think.
If they'd have done one
Even,
pose, the price point would have been right. But
yeah,
with the way they did it, Zombie Attacks is right. 30 would have been the price max
yeah,
for
I
sure.
agree. But then I think it should have been a bit lower than that. If
Yeah,
if
if you're
we
going
were
to do
to
that many
keep,
poses, it should be 20, 30,
yeah,
30 gems sort of
if
thing.
there's that many poses, I think it should be 20 gems, if I'm
Yeah.
honest. And I think everyone can still get, like we say, there's a lot of people to pay. You've got to pay the designers, you've got to pay, obviously, Backpink themselves, their
Yeah.
manager, then VeVe's got to get their cut and everything else. But then
Yeah, but we're going to
everyone
get
gets
into that
market
because
sales money
we
and
got to get
everything
into
like
that.
that.
We
So,
got to
yeah.
get into that. We
Let's go
are
through
going to
these
get into
comments
that.
quickly. Just check 940 comics with VeVe. More than my physical comics, I have a lot of full boxes. So I actually sold all of my comics at one point in my life, and I've never been a big comic book person apart from X-Men. And I've always read the Beanos. I don't know whether you know what a Beano is, but Dennis the
I have
Menace.
no idea.
You know Dennis the Menace?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so the Beano used to be that book, and I always used to find them at car boot sales for 20p in a box, and they were from the 1970s going onwards, and you can tell by the years how different it changed over the years. I mean, Dennis the Menace now in cartoons, you can't even have a slingshot. Wilter used to be, Walter, sorry, used to be bullied all the time, and now you can't do that because obviously it's promoting bullying and all this sort of stuff.
Oh,
But
good
obviously,
God.
no one's stupid. But I used to read Beanos all the time. That was the one thing I did used to read, and I used to collect. And I used to draw a lot of the characters as well. So that's one of my
Oh, yeah?
things, Dennis the Menace and
Yeah, that's
Nasher.
cool.
And obviously
I'd
my
like to
middle
see
name's
some of that.
Dennis. So yeah,
That means you should make some NFTs, man. Get them on there.
that's not a bad idea. That
Yeah,
I
I think it's
think
a
if you
bloody
make
good idea.
Beano ones, that would actually be a good. That would
As long
actually
as
be
you're
a
not
good one.
breaking any copyright laws, man, get it in there.
I think that would be a good one, actually, Beano's. I'm not going to lie to you. That would be a good book. Older,
But I got
younger.
a question for you, Zombie Attacks. Zombie
Yep.
Attack News. How long have you been collecting comics? And like, do you have any idea of exactly how many comics you have?
I think he just said 940. Oh,
Oh
you
yeah,
mean
I know. It's
physical?
written on screen. 940 comics with VeVe, more than my physical. Okay, all right.
Or
Yeah,
do
I
you
read
mean
that
physical?
wrong. Just check 940 comics with VeVe. No, he's got 940 VeVe comics, is what I understood.
Let's get this off a minute.
Can you elaborate on that, Zombie? Because I got to say, like I like to collect, but having that kind of number of comics in a box, I don't see the point of it personally. But I'm not a comic guy, so
That is exactly why I sold my comics, because you store them in a box, and I'm used to having my stuff on shelves and that, and comics are not the easiest things to display, if that makes sense. But I'll skip
yeah.
through these comments now because obviously we've got your answer in the bottom, so let's go through these quick. Double Quill, I think comics are much more stable than collectibles because they don't change and first matters, but collectibles will keep evolving and getting better, always new shiny. And I actually kind of agree with that statement in a way, because the more the years move on, the more the collectibles are going to look outdated. Some of the ones we first got in VeVe's first series are not as good quality as we've got now. I mean, when they release the animated ones like Swamp Thing and stuff, I mean, that absolutely blows away some of the serial killers, for instance.
That's an awesome collectible.
Even though they're
Swamp Thing is amazing.
even though they're Ron English's serial killers. But yeah. I think
Do you
it's
know what?
Ron
Look,
English
Double
writing
Quill.
serial killers, yeah.
But before you get to the next comment, I would counter that, Double Quill, by saying that if you look at the kind of action figures you buy in the shops now, compared to the first Han Solo that was released in 1979 or whatever, the quality is obviously massively different. But try and sell a new toy for the same price you get for a Han Solo. It's not going to happen.
The other thing I would say with the comics, I believe so when I first started this whole journey, the one thing, I've literally got so many comics compared to collectibles. So I've got 300 comics, I believe, somewhere around there. And then I've got 60 collectibles right now.
Yeah,
because
right.
I always believed in the comics first time because they had a counterpart to match, if that makes sense. And then some of them comic values, like AF-15, for instance, you cannot buy. Some people can't buy that in the real world. And to be able to read that book, some people would have never been able to read that book.
Yeah, true. That's true. Yeah.
So I always believed they had value just for that reason. And I did think comics from my side would bring people in because there's a counterpart to compare it to.
Yeah, but I mean, can you not read those comics on Marvel Unlimited, though?
Stuff like that.
Can you not read those comics on Marvel Unlimited?
And that's the only thing. I never knew that existed at the time. Never knew it was a thing. Marvel promotes it. It's their own platform, basically. So yeah, it's a bit of a tie between both. But I think it's $5.99 a month or something. Marvel.
This is why I went the other way entirely. I completely ignored the comics, and I went all the way for collectibles because I think the same way as superstars, and I'm all about utility, right? I think Rob and Joe are right. I think that as far as NFTs are concerned, utility is king, and we were sold this idea that, I mean, how many times have you heard them say that VeVe is just the gift store, right? And the main product is the VeVeverse. So I bought on that premise, which is why I ignored comics and went for collectibles, because I saw something coming. But I mean, we're like I said, pretty far in, man.
It's like I said to you earlier, I brought based on what I was seeing at the time.
Yeah,
I don't know why. I've always thought like that.
Are you have you got the guts, the balls to get into the heavy stuff?
Let's go through these comments. Well, what do you want to talk? Well, it depends what you're going to do. If you're going to kill all my audience right now, then I'm going to have to.
No, I'm not going to kill your audience. I'm not going to kill your audience. I'm just going to.
I know, you're fine.
I'm going to go over what's being talked about. That's all.
Let's have a look. Who else? VeVe fans, good to see you. What's your thoughts on tomorrow's low drop? We actually went through that already, so if you want to go back, I don't know whether you see that bit, but yeah, I actually think the drop's not bad itself. Editions are not bad itself. But again, from my perspective, being in the UK, it's one of the cheaper items. So I'm glad to see the price point was 18 gems. I think if it was 25 gems, 30 gems, that would have been too much to ask. The craft is pretty good, and it's also got the chase variant because the secret rare has a very low edition, and also the craft is very low edition. So that also gives the normal VeVe people that are not necessarily interested in this drop a good way to participate, or something that's worth maybe aiming for, if that makes sense.
And personally, I think that it's a great IP. It's a great drop. The quality is incredible. I'm not joking. Like I've got a daughter. She buys those toys, and the quality of this drop is like 100%. Do I think it'll sell out? No, I don't, because I don't think we got the audience for that. But The IP is amazing. The quality of them is amazing. I think it's. I think I'll give it a 10 out of 10 for VeVe on that one.
Yeah,
Personally.
I actually think the quality is perfect.
Yeah,
I'm
I'll
not
give it a
gonna lie
10
to you.
out of 10 for that.
One thing that could have made that drop better, and I'm not complaining about this drop. I think it's pretty cool. One thing that maybe could have made that better is if you could have had accessories. They would have been the perfect drop.
Well, see, that's the first thing I thought. I saw them
maybe
come
you
out.
could
See,
change the handbags. Maybe you could change the
well, here's the thing, right?
hairstyle. Maybe you could.
You
Maybe
might
you
not
could
know that.
implement. That's pretty
You
cool.
might not know that, Bob, but like with my daughter, I bought her 1,000 of those things.
Yeah.
And when you open it up, you've got the doll, and then in a separate packet, you've got the sunglasses. In another packet, you've got the bag or whatever. That is a golden opportunity. They should have dropped the dolls and then dropped the accessories, the sunglasses or whatever else separately for like 5 gems a piece or whatever. They really missed an opportunity with that, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I think maybe we should get on the team. Because I'm not gonna lie to you.
I think maybe we should.
That is a brilliant idea. I'm not gonna lie to you. That would have been a wicked way. And everyone asked for accessories and stuff like this. I mean, crptotoys, for instance, they got the accessories now. At one point, you're going to be. Yeah, they've got the hammers and the weapons and stuff. They've always been separate. And from the start, you've always been told you will be able to, when it gets to the market, you've always been told you can sell like both separately. So I think if you were going to add that sort of thing, because even VeVe, for instance, we have an option that says you can take away the bases. At one point, it was looking like you're going to be able to take away the bases of each item, stuff like that. So this would have been a good drop to implement a new section for additional
100%. So this would have been the perfect drop for that. The perfect drop.
It would have been. Let's just run through these quickly. That was a good idea. I'm not going to lie to you. If anyone wants that, you owe me $10,000. I don't mind. It's a good idea though. Let's have a look at this. Zombie attack news. I know a few new users love the comics on VeVe. It's going to grow large with collectors on comics. Just a matter of word of mouth. I agree with that. And also, like I said before, you can read some of the comics you could never read. And I'm not sure. And I do like the way they do it as well. And I also do like reading them in AR. It's pretty cool. And I have read probably 10 VeVe comics at this point.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I made the mistake of reading the Daredevil one. I don't know whether you've ever brought that one. I brought probably 20 copies of that at the time because I love Daredevil, and he was in a prison outfit, orange suit. I can't remember the comic right now, but obviously you can probably tell the common variation is probably at $1 right now. But I've probably got 20 to 25 of them stacked up. And that was one of my favorite looking comics because when I brought the comics, I brought them for the covers. So the cover art, the only reason I have comics is for cover art.
That's what I was going to say. Is I was talking before, I don't touch comics and I collect collectibles because of the utility. But on that, and I stated that the only utility I can see for the comics is as posters. But I would buy some of them as posters, man. That first appearance of Iron Man, the uncommon, is the one I love, man. I want that on my wall in the VeVeverse.
I mean, it's like...
And there's plenty of others too, like the, what is it? I think it's Avengers number 8, if I'm not mistaken, that every rarity has a different cover. And every cover is just fire. I'd love to have that. I'm going to
show you. So it's like this. So I've never, ever read this comic in my life. And it's a Power Rangers comic. So I grew up to Power Rangers toys. I grew up to the first movie with the Ooze guy. That was a really good movie. I could still watch that movie today and be fascinated by that. I'm not going to lie to you. But again, I've never read that comic, but I only got it because of the cover art on the front of that comic.
It's a shame because I really thought we could be friends. But I don't know about that.
Well, it's like X-Men, for instance. So I'm one of the guys in VeVe where X-Men comics come out all the time. One of my favorite franchises has always been the X-Men. I was always going to call my baby whenever I had one. I was always going to name my baby boy if I had one Wolverine. I'm not even joking. That was
Stop it.
Honest truth. And you can ask any of my friends in real life. I've told them since I was the age of 15, if I ever have a son, it's going to be called Wolverine, right? And
Can
then
you?
it's like all of these. I've collected all of these just for the covers, not for the actual comic books themselves. Just because I like the cover art.
Well, that's the point I was getting to. Is like I don't give the first toss about comics, but there's about 100 comics that I would buy just for the covers.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about comics. I was introduced to comics by VeVe. I didn't know anything about the characters. There's like characters I don't know about. The first appearances, all that stuff. And I've seen some cover art that is just unbelievable. I wouldn't speculate on LOL dolls, but everyone with a daughter will
My
get at least one.
computer's doing something.
Well, here's the thing, Double Core. Here's the thing about that. You would
My
expect so,
favourite
wouldn't
cover.
you? Right? But the thing is, we're adults. And we're not buying these things for us. I don't know about you, but my daughter doesn't have a smartphone. And any kid that is old enough to have a smartphone is probably too old to be into LOL dolls. So I don't really agree with that. I mean, maybe in the future, like I was saying to Bob earlier, like we collect Voltron on VeVe, we collect Astro Boy on VeVe, we collect all these sort of like nostalgic brands on VeVe, whatever it might be. We're not quite there yet with LOL, man. It's going to be 10 years before people start to see that as a nostalgic thing. And children are not allowed to buy on VeVe. They can't have accounts. So, I mean, what is that service?
Is that what the comic, the new comic app or whatever it is that they've just released? That is actually for ages of 13 and upwards.
Is that right?
Is that why they've
Yeah, but
done
that's
that?
exclusively comic books, though.
But I've never understood why they actually did that. I've got to be honest with you. I love VeVe. I love, I'm rooting for them, right? But that didn't make sense to me. And then also with the Blackpink articles, all the pictures and stuff had VeVe vibes written underneath. Now, if I was new, this is something that you should actually take on board. Because if I was new, I would think the company was called VeVe Vibes or VeVe Comics. Every time the article comes out, it don't say, VeVe.
Yeah,
it
that's
literally
true. I
says
never
VeVe
thought about
Vibes at the bottom. At the bottom, it says VeVe Vibes at the bottom, VeVe Comics at the bottom. And I've never liked that idea from the start. Everything should have VeVe written on.
Yeah, I don't like that either, honestly.
So, and then the other thing is, I don't know how much you've looked at that new comic app.
Mate, I looked at it the first day and I haven't looked at it since.
And I've kind of done the same thing, and it kind of, I'm not going to lie to you, it kind of disconnected me a little bit with the comic side of things, because then I'm seeing there's alien comics on there, which I've never seen in VeVe, but you can buy them on there. So I'm not 100% sure how that works. And considering I've been here for 2 years at this point, covered everything VeVe wise, it even confused me, the separate aspects of it, if that makes sense. Again, I can see they're trying to branch out, and then the reason for that may have been it's 13 and upwards. That could be the reason. So adults can buy the books, and then the young people can read the books.
But again, for me, the
separate, I can understand you having a music section, film section, whatever else in the VeVe app, but I don't understand promoting it as this is VeVe Vibes, the music side of.
Listen, Bob, you've said a couple of things so far that I want to respond to. You said you wanted to get to the bottom of the chat before we get into the ugly stuff, but I'm ready to get into the ugly stuff, man, to get through it. Because you said a couple of things that have set shit off. I'm ready to get into the ugly
Double
stuff.
Quill, I wouldn't speculate on the LOL dolls because everyone with a daughter will get one at least. Now, I don't have kids, so I can't say from my point of view, I don't have a feeling on that, right?
Well, I do, and I'm not getting one.
But I do get some people, some of the adults and stuff. I mean, Anad's a good example, for instance. He's used Elsa dolls and stuff like that. And then with, he was showing me a Pokemon app the other day, actually, where you can have the Pokemon in AR. And he put them up against Leader and stuff like that. So that was pretty cool to see. You can use that sort of thing that way. So let's go through. Zombie attacks, very true, Double Quill. Zombie attacks. I know a comic store owner who is into VeVe. After me kept bragging about my collection on VeVe. He has more than me within 1 year in VeVe. He buys low mints, does not sell, but buys statues on VeVe. I actually like the statues on VeVe. I actually like the collectibles, but I was also more into the comic side. But then I would say a year and a bit in, it started to switch to the collectible side. Let's have a look. Zombie attack news. I buy comics. I I like at the store, then preserving them, we'll pass them down to my kids. So let me ask you this, Zombie Attack. Do you actually read the comics? Or so let me ask you this actually. So everyone that's in the chat right now,
That's a
if
good
you've
question.
ever bought comics on VeVe or ever bought comics on in real life or physicals, let me know why you buy the comic. Let me know what makes you buy the comic. Do you read the comic? Is it a fandom? Is it a childhood memory? Or do you just like the covers? Is that what you buy based on?
That's a damn good question.
You do know your mic's on, right?
I do know my mic's on. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, mate. I wasn't sure if you knew. So let's have a quick look. So Doctor Strange, I display my graded and raw comics equally as well. They have tons of stuff for displaying both on Amazon for cheap. I even graded my sports card displayed on walls. Yeah, I'm having that problem right now. I've got Pokemon cards laying around me. I've got comics laying around me. As I say, I've literally got boxes. So like I was saying to you, I've actually sold all my comics. And then at one point I started buying comics back because of VeVe. And they're all related kind of to that sort of situation. But yeah, I've also gone into cards. I've always collected toys my whole life. I actually collect swords and knives and stuff like that. Every holiday when I was younger, my parents used to go to a place what I didn't really like. And that was when I was probably 14, 15. And they used to bring me a knife back every time because I've got a display cabinet downstairs with knives and swords. And I literally...
The first sign of a psycho. He collects knives.
I don't know what it is, but growing up with my parents, there's not an empty windowsill. There's not an empty table. There's not the whole way leading up my parents' stairs. There's signed autograph pictures of movie cells or the X-Men or X-Files, for instance, even Spice Girls and random things like that, just because they've always been buyers and sellers their whole life and their whole house is kind of interesting. Whereas I think if you live in a plain house, if you have a guest walk in, it don't give you anything to talk about. Whereas if you walk into my house, I know you're going to walk into the hallway, you're going to see a Freddy Krueger doll here, and you're going to say, what is that? Why do you have that? And then it's going to bring you into that, and then you'll walk into the front room, you'll see 100 collectible knives at least, and rifles and dinosaur
I'm going to walk into the room you're
else.
sitting in and completely ignore you after that and just stand in awe at your
But it's like,
it's incredible.
it always gives you something to talk about. I mean, I've got cannonballs from the 16th century, 17th century. I've got pop toys, Pokemon. There's something, if you walk into my house, there's going to be something you grew up with in your childhood or you recognize and you fall in love with. I think, anyway, personally. But yeah, that's the power of collecting. Let's have a look. Sorry, I'm waffling on there. Let's have a look. Yep, so we read that comic. But yeah, I agree. I like graded and raw comics. And I don't own any graded comics yet. So yeah, I really need to get that done. I must admit. I've got a couple of graded Pokemon cards. And I've also got to send a bunch off from the 151 set. I'll try and hide my nails there because they're horrible. But yeah, this one was from actually Kobe himself. He actually sent me this in a giveaway.
Legend,
and he
by the
sent
way.
me another one for my birthday as well. I think that's up there somewhere. I've got a bunch of stuff from content creators. One of my videos I'm going to do next, I think, is things I've received over the years from content creators or giveaways or wins or whatever they were. And then just random gifts as well. So Dr. Fuse, I may have another 10 comics in real life. My partner is a minimalist and we have a lot. I would never get away having a lot of physical and collectibles. I actually never brought a VeVe comic until VeVe. I actually never brought a comic until VeVe. So I can also understand that situation. I have a good friend, Osman Collects, and I think he has the same problem where he can't, because of his missus, he can't keep collectibles around, or he can't. I'm a single man. I can do what I like. Well, kind of single. So I can do what I like. And I live in my own house. But yeah, I kind of get that as well. And then also, depending on your lifestyle, I know one of my other mates from VeVe, Guri, he actually travels around a lot. So I can't imagine he owns that much because he's traveling all the time. So some people can just live that lifestyle. To me, all these things hold memories. So let's have a look. Double quill. I got really bored with the Marvel Unlimited really quick. It was a cable conundrum. the more there are, the less you can find to read. I kind of agree with that. I do like the way you can read the AR, but I do think the comics have been undervalued from the start in VeVe and a bit chucked to the side. Collectibles you can do a lot with. You get more points collecting them. You get more MCP points collecting them. You can display them. You can put them in your vault. You've always been able to do that. Comics have always been chucked to the side. You can't put them in your vaults. You can't do nothing like that.
This is where me
And
and Bob
we
butt
did have
heads.
an announcement recently that I can't remember whether it was My Collectibles. It might have been My Collectibles. I can't remember. But they said there's more things coming to the comics, what is going to boost the comics, and they're going to finally get some love. I think it was My Collectibles and Corey. And they were saying that the comics sooner or later are going to get the love they deserve and haven't got from the first off, if that makes sense.
Well,
I
I
mean, you
never heard
should
them
be able
say
to put them
that,
in
but
your
I got to
vaults.
ask you, Bob, what do you think that means when they say that? Like, what do you expect from that? When they say that you can expect more from the comics, what do you perceive that might mean?
Well, I at least expect you to be able to put them in your vaults on your wall. Like, why can you do that with collectibles, but you can't do that with comics? That makes no sense to me whatsoever. Why do you get less MCP points for collecting comics than you do collectibles? That still don't make sense to me neither.
No.
So there's a couple of things like that.
Do you
And
though? Or do you get less points for that?
yeah, you get a lot less points for comics.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought
Yeah.
it was kind of like across the board. Common has this many points.
And I
Rare
thought the
has this
same
many
thing,
points.
to be honest. I thought it would be equal, but it never has been from the
That's what
start.
I
And
thought.
I don't think that. I think that should have just been corrected first time, to be honest. I think both should be on par with each other. But then at the time, the comics were a cheaper item to get into, cheaper to collect. And at the time, everything else, you get it on drop and then it doubled, tripled. So I kind of see that point of view as well, if that makes
So
sense. But you
when they
should
say you can
definitely be able
expect
to put it in
more,
your vault.
when they say you can expect more, what you hear when you hear that, what you understand is that you'll be able to display them in your vault.
Well,
Is
I
that it?
don't. That wasn't what I heard. All they said is there's more coming for the comics. I mean,
Yeah,
they've
and I'm
started the
asking you,
comic
what do you
reader app,
expect when
so
they
that's
say
one
that?
of. Well, I at least expect them to be in vaults. I mean, come
Well,
on, that
yeah,
should have been
at
implemented.
least, sure, but I mean, do you expect anything more? You know, I'm not trying to trap you here, man. Like, if you don't expect more than that, then say you don't expect more than that. I'm just asking.
Oh,
I don't know, man.
no idea what happened there. Are you there?
I don't know. I was always the opposite than you. I always kind of thought that I never saw the value proposition in the comics. I saw the value proposition in the collectibles, which is why I don't do comics. I had a bunch of them. I sold them off at floor price because I was
See,
like,
we
you
were
know, I just
opposites.
don't see the
We were
value
opposites.
proposition there.
Well, just because we don't agree, don't mean that we have to hate each other or talk nasty to each other or anything like that. It's
No,
like
not at all.
everyone's got their thing. That's the good thing about VeVe. Everyone's got their item they can rely on. Like, I know
Yeah.
one thing we do agree on. The kit car is probably one of the best cars in VeVe.
Man, look,
And let me go from. I'm just going to go through these comments.
the one
Sorry,
thing, in
we've got
my
a lot
opinion,
of
the one
comments
thing
on
that's
here.
keeping the value of those things down, not that I'm particularly, you know, I said something about that on Twitter the other day. You know, there was somebody harping on about, you know, vault values and all that. And they called me like a moon boy or something like that. I don't know. I don't remember what they said, but you know, my response was like, I'm not looking to increase the value of my collectibles. I'm just looking for them to have some kind of utility, some kind of value. Like,
Again,
I don't know.
don't
Look,
bother
here's the
me.
way I
I
see it,
bought them
right?
in the
Here's the
here
way I
and the
see it.
now.
Here's the way I see it.
They could be added to though later.
Yeah, they could be, but that's all speculation.
Possibility.
And here's the way I see it, right? Now imagine if
Well, it's like Kit, for instance. So Kit's a good example, actually. So Kit, remember when it come out, it had no flashing light, and everyone's like, "Where's the flashing light? Are you not all right?" And then they updated it so it had a flashing light. Still has the annoying sound, mind you. What you
yeah, but
can't
here's the
turn off
thing,
and
right?
on.
Like when I talk about like the utility of it, imagine this, right? Now we all heard many times that VeVe is nothing but the gift shop, right? And that implies that there's some bigger product coming that VeVe, the VeVe collectibles, the comics, and all that are just an accessory for that main product. Well, where is that product? Right now, imagine if the company I can't remember the name of the company that owns Fortnite. Now, but it doesn't matter, Fortnite or any other game that you want to mention. Now, imagine if they tell you there's a game coming out, right, and we give you a date for this game to release, but we're going to start selling skins for characters for this game. And 3 years in, you've done nothing but buy skins for these characters, but the game hasn't released yet.
Yeah. And you can't buy and sell.
You know what I mean?
Well, actually, at one point you could, but they stopped that because it was at one point, I can't remember what game it was, but you could buy and sell. It might have actually been Fortnite, but you could buy and sell the skins, and then a lot of people were literally buying and selling the skins, and it turned into a whole
No,
market.
that would have
at
been
one point.
probably World of Warcraft.
It might have been. I can't
Yeah,
remember
that's the
what
one.
game was. It was an older game, definitely, but I can't
Yeah, World
remember.
of Warcraft. That's the one.
But yeah, that was pretty good. I'm not gonna lie to you. That was pretty
But, you
fun.
know, look,
There's a documentary about that on Amazon, I think. Amazon Prime. So let's go to here. So Doctor Strange, this is a good idea, by the way. I see this come up. Simple comic utility is buying a comic from the VeVe comic app and getting a physical for free. Much less what you can do with the comic stores by having a comic on the app. Collectible utility, I don't know. But yeah,
I don't agree with that. That's gimmick shit.
So let me point this out. So VeVe have already done this. So right now, this
Oh yeah, that's something special. The addiction is something special, really.
So let's talk about this. So VeVe, if you look at it, I've already done this. This is the addiction comic, was released on VeVe, same day or whatever the physical was released. By the way, this is a Michael Camper. My friend Michael Camper got this for me. It's signed by all the artists and everything like that. This is why I brought in the London police poster, which, by the way, got us into a car crash the other day, taking it to the post office. So I'm not going to talk about that. It was not good. But yeah, that was, not good. We now have no car. So yeah, that's not good. But yeah, the point I was saying is they've already tried this. So if you look, this is the addiction comic, was released the same time.
I think it was fantastic.
Physical. And this is the New York Comic-Con one. Not Comic-Con one, sorry, but it's a New York variant. Anyway, you can see by the bottom there. There you go. And the ones you buy from the store now, you can buy them online. They don't have that at the bottom because it's an event one. So VeVe have tried that a couple of times and it's worked. Like the excitement for these comics was big. Even now, this one up here, let me just untuck. So even this one here, I don't know where Dukkencuvva's gone. He's obviously died back over there. But even this one here. So the Spider-Man Returns one, this is a Marvel official comic. That's big. That's big. So you can't say VeVe haven't tried. But yeah, I do agree. That's one thing you could do with the comics. Let me remove Dukkencuvva here so we don't have to look at his chair. But I do agree that's one of the things we could do. But as you can see here, we done it. And well, VeVe done it. And as you can see, it's a really good comic cover. I mean, is there a bigger partnership than Marvel? I mean, really? And then you've got the Funko behind me. I don't know if you can see that. Where's my control? So I've got a movable thing. So let me just point you up there. So as you can see there, Mr. Tony Stark himself over there. A Funko partnership. As you can see by the wall, this was before VeVe. Look at all them Funkos, what I collect. All them Funkos. And then if you look, let me just show you something else. So bearing in mind, I'm going grey over there, but don't know. There's a troll right there. The thing I was talking about earlier. Now, if you look at the bottom row of this, there's Disney princesses. Now, I'm a man. I've never had a reason to buy a Disney princess, but these are kind of like the Mighty Marvels. So I'll just get my head out, right? So we'll have a look. As you can see, I've got all the Elsa ones, stuff like that. So yeah, it's actually, when they say digital collectibles is not always the best thing to get you into physicals, it's a lie, because at the same time, I bought physicals and stuff related to VeVe just because of VeVe. I would never had a Disney princess in my life. But,
well, that's the reason I jumped off the camera for a second. I was trying to find my Spider-Man comic. I have a Spider-Man comic that has the VeVe logo on the back. Now that is not nothing, man. That is a big deal.
Well, it's like the addiction ones. They got it on the pizza box, haven't they?
Yeah, it's amazing.
I've got
Yeah,
the
but we're talking about Spider-Man with a VeVe logo on it. You can send it away to CGC and get a slab that has a VeVe logo on it.
Also, Michael Campo got me this one.
Oh, you got that sign? Who's that signed by?
It's signed by all the artists, the cover artists, everything.
Seriously?
I literally every single one of them was at that event, and Michael Campo was kind enough to get me one.
Man,
And then
get that slab, dude.
I actually asked him to get me these, right? And I was obviously going to pay him for it, but he was the only person I knew would have like the spare money at the event to get me one, if that makes sense. So I was just like, if you could you pick me up a couple? And then he sent them to me. He's like, no, they're free. Like, you can have them. You don't need to pay me for them. He's like, I appreciate all your content. So this, I'm gonna be honest with you. This is the first YouTube present, like from someone that appreciated kind of like the content sort of side of it. That was the first gift I ever got. So yeah, I appreciate that. And then he got it signed for me, but I also returned the favor with a London police thing, which is still downstairs because of the car accident. But yeah, that will go Monday morning this week. So yeah,
touching on that.
Well. And then my one's over here as well. You've seen this. So this is my London police.
Oh yeah, I still got mine in the tube.
Nothing. That's the funny thing about. Oh, sorry, I keep pulling out my ears. That's the funny thing about it, right? They're still in the tubes right now. I don't want to pull it out because I do smoke in my house. So I'd rather put it in a frame than pull it out, if that makes sense.
Well, that's the thing. That's why mine's still in the tube, because I don't want to just buy a frame from IKEA, man. That's a proper piece of art.
I agree.
And I want it framed professionally. And if we can just touch on the London police for a second. Hey, listen, if you're on VeVe and you're sleeping on the London police, stop it. Get it. I'm telling you, these guys, look, I'm not even being funny, Bob. I don't know if you agree with me on this or not.
Oh, no,
but I said this on a Millie's space earlier, right? Is that I see the London police and what Suye, D-Roy, and all them are doing. I think that these guys are the bridge between VeVe's Web 2 and proper Web 3. These are the guys who are going to get us there. And they've got more utility on not only their VeVe pieces, but their pieces outside of VeVe. But let's just talk about the VeVe stuff. There's more utility connected to those pieces than any other thing on the app. And I include the Golden Dragon in that with the superstar money stuff that they got going on, right? If you're sleeping on the London police, you are in a coma. These guys are dedicated. And D-Roy, who is the CEO of Suye, which is the digital side of the London police, this guy's from a Web3 background. This guy's a professional. He knows what he's doing. He's dedicated. He's pushing the space as far as he can go. And just this weekend, just yesterday, I think, he was at the convention NFT Rome. And he did a presentation on stage where he talked about their project with VeVe. These guys are dedicated, man. Don't sleep on the London police, I'm telling you.
So we've like personally had some wicked experiences with them. We brought their art. I mean, me and you, we literally run at the side of the road one day. Literally late. Do you remember that? We literally run the whole way to the event. Couldn't find it.
That's a funny story, actually. We were at the for Crypto XR, and me and bobsales, we didn't know where we were going, so we're like running down the side of the highway. There's no footpath. We're running on the road with cars going 150 miles an hour, whatever. And we're running and running. And we pass these two guys. One of them happens to be Captain VeVe. We're like, man, we got to get there before the line fills up. And Captain VeVe's like, dude, chill. I'm like, nah, there's no chill here. We got to get there.
That was funny. That was funny. And then when I got there, I was covered in sweat. And then I walked around the event. I was like, I've got to buy a t-shirt, get a t-shirt.
David, you gave you a t-shirt, didn't you?
I walked up. I see David, you had some t-shirts. I was like, can I have a t-shirt? And he's just like, do you have a VeVe account? I was just like, are you for real? And then Omi,
you'd already met him too.
Millionaires. Omi Trees, is it? Curly hair guy. Off the top of my head.
Old mate.
How can I not think of his name?
He used to be like, he's the guy who put out him and his missus put out
absolutely quality couple.
And whatever.
The worst thing is I've had a couple of whiskeys, so I forgive. So forgive me for not remembering. That's
Yeah, I
really
can't
bothering
remember
me.
either, man.
That's
Don't feel
really
bad.
bothering me. That's really. I know who the guy is as well. It's so that is.
Everybody knows his
It's
face.
not coming to my head. But either way, he cracked up laughing, and he's like, "You do realize that's Bob Sales? He's been doing like VeVe videos for 2 years. Not only did
And you'd
David,
already met him too. That's
yes,
the
David
part that
seen me
hurts.
3 times at this point. And then even in the event, he come up to me at one point and he's like, "Do you own the VeVe card? Do you remember that?" And it's just like, "Do
Yeah.
you own the VeVe card?" And I was like, "I
Oh
don't
yeah.
know what
And
you're
that's
talking about."
Felix and his brother own that shit.
But yeah, the other
Hey,
guy,
listen,
he was cracking up. I swear to God, he was cracking up. It's just
to
like you do.
anybody in the chat though,
It's
I
like you
got to
do
say that you
realize
don't
that's
understand.
let me find his Twitter account.
To
Where's my
anybody in the
phone?
chat, you don't understand. Like we were at that that event in Auxerre in France, right? And you got no idea. David Yu is just swarmed all the time. There's just
Yeah.
like everybody around him wanting to ask him questions, wanting to know stuff. Dan, he's safe, right?
Oh me
Reese,
homies.
he's
How
safe.
did I not remember? There you go. Oh me homies. That's what it is.
Yeah, there you
I
go.
knew.
But you know, Dan and Reese and all these guys, Lucas and all that, they're cool, right? They're just getting on with their thing. But David Yu, man, he's just swarmed from beginning to end. I couldn't get a word in with this guy.
Right, let me read these comments quickly. Let's go through the line. When VeVe lets comics count as sets, that's the other thing. So
Yeah,
you know when I said about
yeah,
them being neglected a bit from the start, they should
yeah,
count as sets. 100 million
100%.
percent.
Yeah, that's well overdue.
Double quill, I buy stuff on my account for my daughter all the time, but it'd be nice to have a Guardian account. I agree with that. She's not getting a smartphone from me, though she'll have to get a job to earn it. So I kind of
I
agree with
agree
that.
with
And
that double quill.
I also don't agree you should put kids straight on a smartphone as well. But then
No,
again, if
but
you
she's got a
but
point
then
that
but listen,
VeVe,
if you
concerning
don't, then
VeVe,
you've also kind of letting them not experience the technology.
yeah,
So
fair
there
enough.
is like a kind of thing
But
there. But
concerning VeVe, double quill is right. There should be sort of like satellite accounts where the main account is the parent who's an adult who's over 18 who can sign that contract, but then have like child accounts who are attached to that. I agree with you on that double call. I think that's a great idea, and
yeah,
it's also overdue, especially with some of the IPs that they're releasing. When they started releasing Blackpink or LOL dolls, or you know some of the other things they've released in the past that are like obviously targeted to children. Children can't have accounts, but the parents should be able to have accounts for their children that are connected to theirs. I agree with you 100% on that.
yeah. But then they can always just use their account, pass the phone to the child, if that makes sense. So there is that. You could always still take an AR picture with your child. They're not understanding buying and selling it at this point or anything like that.
Yeah, but I mean, like double quill cells. I think me and her, well, from what she says here, we're on the same page. We're not ready to have our kids with smartphones, but at the same time, half of the kids at my daughter's school have got them.
That is the
Right.
other. So I'm not a parent, so I can't really comment on these sort of things. But I do agree with you. I would kind of, if I had a daughter or a child or whatever, curly haired boy, for instance, I would literally try to avoid that as long as possible. But at the same time, by avoiding it, you're kind of delaying the child's abilities because when they get to
Yeah,
school and
there's
stuff,
that.
they are going to be using
You don't
that
want them to
sort
get
of
left
item and
behind.
stuff. Exactly that.
That's
So
true.
there's two
But
different
it's
ways of
just too
looking at it.
dangerous, man. Come on. Like, what does a
Well,
10-year-old need a computer in their pocket for?
That's the other way of looking at it. So let's go through the comments. Zombie attack news, I read them all. Good man. Zombie attack news. If the cover catches my eye, I'll also get it. That's a perfect way. That's how I literally pick comics. Even the physicals, it's by the cover. I've not bought a comic ever based on not the cover. Doctor Strange, my answer is D. All the above. I have hundreds of comics in real life on the app, collect on VeVe for every reason we said. He's literally got, I'm not going to lie to you, he's got the background of 100 million comics. Well, not 100 millions, but literally his whole background's comics. So he's definitely a comic collector and he knows what he's talking about.
I love to know that people like you exist, Doctor Strange.
Yeah, 100%. and then also people from different backgrounds, different areas and stuff. Like before VeVe, I was so UK based, if that makes sense. I never had no one outside, but the joy of it is I've now got, if I want to go to Switzerland or Canada or Hawaii or like America, there's someone there. I can probably stay at their house. So anyway, let's have a look at this. Double quote, I don't have any faith in the teasers VeVe puts out of any kind these days. They talk a lot, but they never really say anything. So I kind of
agreed.
So we agree on that, but also you've got to kind of keep face, if that makes sense. But you also need to follow through. So when it's the VeVe verse, for instance, we talked about that earlier. That was coming before Christmas. Latest it was coming was Christmas at one point, and now it's not here 6 months later.
All right, Bob, get through this chat, man, because I've got to get to my shit.
I'm going. Pasternak88, it's good to see you. Hey, dudes, it's good to see you. Always one to like all the content creators' videos. Always having the first battle with this guy. I'm sorry I've been a bit delayed recently. I've had a bit of life issues, work issues, romance issues, and whatever else you want to call it. So Doctor Strange in the reverse, they could randomly put a QR code on the back of a few limited comics, and when they scan the digital version of the VeVe app, that actually is a good idea as well.
That's not a bad idea.
So these comics here, maybe they could have had that on the back. That's not a bad idea. And even comics, one of the best things about old comics, I don't know if you've even like 90s comics, they've always got the advertisements in between. Now VeVe cut these out on their comics, which I've always hated, whereas DC actually include them, right?
So they bloody should. So they should publish it the way it was published.
The funny thing is, when you look at some, the only thing is I can understand the point of view because you're advertising something that may not exist. Some of them say sign here, but some of the comic ads say sign here and like send us $10 and you'll get this toy. And obviously you can't do that this day and age. So to cover themselves, I think they cut them out. But when you're going through a 90s comic and you look at some of the ads, like I can think of one 100 million%. So Cheerios, for instance.
One of my
There's
biggest
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Cheerios advert in one of my books. And it just makes me smile every time I see it.
One of my biggest grievances, I'm sorry to cut you off that way, Bob, but I've got to tell you, on that subject, one of my biggest grievances with VeVe ever. Now, I don't know who was here for that and who remembers that, but there was a comic they released like ages ago. It was one of the early comics that they released, and it was supposed to be like X-Men or some shit like that.
I like it.
And they released it with the X-Men cover, but the comic inside was the Captain America one, right? And I bought that as many people did. Like the cover was like Zombie X-Men or some shit like that. But when you open the first page, it was a comic that hadn't been released yet. They hadn't released Captain America yet, but the comic inside was Captain America. And what they did was they took that back from everybody and they changed it and then gave it back. And that really messed with me, man. I saw that. I thought I'd hit a gold mine. I was like, man, these guys just released a faulty thing that's going to be rare as hen's teeth. And then they took it back and they changed it. That annoyed me to no end. You got no idea, bro. That really pissed me off.
So let me just go through the comments. Sorry, mate. I'm getting behind on the comments. Always do. So Doctor Strange, especially with the new same day releases, for me, the VeVe comics drop at 3 a.m. I could buy a digital, then by 10 a.m. go to the store, pick one up, a free copy. That's actually... I get that. If you ever want to come on, you're more than welcome to come on with us right now.
Well, I think that's not true, though, is it? I'm not, like I said, I'm not a comic guy. I'm not an expert.
Well, no, it's just that basically says that by the time, if he was to wake up for the drop and then buy it at box price, then he'll wake up a couple of hours later and then see it in the market for cheap.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying is not true. I think that's what, and I've heard this from Swaggle House and a lot of comic guys, not VeVe guys, but comic guys, that is special in the sense that, like, let's take Marvel Unlimited for an example. When a comic releases, you don't see that on Marvel Unlimited for like 3 months.
I never even knew it existed.
Well, this is something I heard from Swaggle House.
That's the other thing. They haven't advertised Marvel Unlimited very well because I never even knew it existed for a year and a half.
Well,
If
Marvel
I'd have
guys
known
do
that, if
know
I'd have
that.
known that existed in the first place, I might not have brought so many VeVe comics because a lot of it is Marvel stuff. So Marvel
Yeah, but I
only
mean, it's
has
the same
interest.
thing. I mean, it
They
comes
could
back to
make
the
more
same
money
argument
on the
about.
VeVe comic app,
Yeah, but it comes back
on
to the
the
same argument
Marvel one.
of computer games, right? Like I play Sea of Thieves, right? And I've spent a lot of time collecting cosmetics on Sea of Thieves. I've spent a lot of money buying stuff from the shop on Sea of Thieves, but they're not NFTs. So I don't own them. So the day they decide to shut that down, every cent that I've ever spent buying stuff in that game is gone forever. Doesn't exist anymore. Right. And I see the same thing with the Marvel comics. But going back to Doctor Strange's comment, from what I understood from like guys like Swaggle House and like uh, YouTubers that I subscribed to because I didn't know what comic books were all about. The way they described it to me was what I understood was that like you can subscribe to Marvel Unlimited, but when a new comic comes out, you have to wait 3 months. Like it comes out physically on the 24th, but you got to wait 3 months before it comes out on the website.
Yeah.
And that's what's special about the VeVe comic app is that the day it comes out physically, it comes out the same day digitally, and you can own it.
Yeah,
That never
exactly.
existed before.
I was just about to say the same thing. It's like the Marvel comic book reader. It's $5.99 a month, I think it is. And obviously, you don't own anything. It's just a rentable. With VeVe, you own it. You get that collectible. You can AR it, all that sort of good stuff. You should be able to put it in your vault though with the collectibles. That has always been one of
Oh
the
yeah, that's
sides for me.
all right. Look, can we?
So let's
Look, I
move
don't know
on.
where
Let
you
me
are
go
in the
through the
chat.
comments quickly.
I don't know where you are in the
I've
chat, but
got
I'm
quite
kind
a
of
few.
gagging to get into the ugly stuff.
Well, don't get into the ugly stuff because you don't want to get banned from YouTube.
No, I'm not going to get you banned, man. I'm not going to get you banned. Don't worry.
Let me have a look. And we've been going for like an hour and a half at this point. Again, me and Dukkencuvva are both drinking on the stream, so everything's off the cuff. None of this was planned, so just bear with us. But again, all of this has been spitting truth, spitting the honest things. And there's positive, there's critical, but again, there's always an idea of how you can improve, if that makes sense. If you're critical and you've got
Well, that's
no
what it's all
idea of
about.
how to improve it, then you shouldn't be critical. But if you can
That's what it's
be
all about.
critical and then suggest ideas of how you can improve it, that makes sense. So let's go through the comment points here. Great point, Dukkencuvva. That CGG VeVe recognition is a big deal. You hear my list then. So let's go through this. I was landed down a scrapbook with newspaper comics that were clipped from year 1936. People were collecting back then. Must have 100 clip comics and some loose ones, historical stuff. So me, for instance, I've got 90s comics, stuff like that, because I remember them comics, if that makes sense. So let's go through. I know it's good to see you, my friend. This is literally one of my best friends in life, and I met him through VeVe as well. And he literally
I can't wait to meet you in person, man.
Always comes round, can outdrink me, and is absolutely cracking. And his daughter also calls me Poker Ash at this point. She actually thinks my name is I'm the original Pokemon Ash. So yeah, it's quite funny. That is still absolutely cute, adorable as well. And if you did miss that music space the other day, even though the music sounded terrible, like the chat me, you, and Anna had and Lida and everything in between, that was worth watching. That was a good fun stream.
Dr. Fuse was there.
And also, we're going to do another one of them soon. But I've got to find a way to improve that quality of the music because that did not represent what the videos were actually. So I'm going to find a way to do that. You can't do that on YouTube because it will strike you within 15 minutes. If you used to stream any song within 15 minutes, like live stream, you'll cut off the internet. Job done. So let's go through. I was hanging out with London Police in Anaheim Decon, got them pizza we out and had down.
Oh yeah, so you know, man, these are good people, and you know that these are good people, and they're dedicated and they're bullish as hell on VeVe. You know these things.
The funny thing about that is, last time I was in Amsterdam, I was having pizza with them in the lobby.
So yeah, when you say the London Police, do you mean the actual artists, or do you mean?
So we met with Sui.
No, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to Zombie Attacks.
Yeah, but
When you
from
say you
my
were hanging
side,
out
we
with the
met
London
with
police, do you mean Bob and Chaz, or do you mean Suye, like Nigella and D-Roy?
so I
That's
met
my
a couple
question.
of them for like small time. But again, with the digital side, I think that is Sue and
Yeah,
Nigella doing
that's
it.
D-Roy and Nigella. Yeah,
Let's go
that's
through. Only
Suye.
homie Max. That's the one. Only homie Max. Thank you for that. He's absolute cracking laugh as well.
Oh yeah.
Bob's getting pissed. Bob's getting a little bit pissed. I'm not going to lie to you, but that's what we're here for. We're here to stream. We're here to talk truth, and we're
Have a
also here
laugh.
to just have a good time. So yeah.
Exactly.
And I didn't make the bobsales shorts for nothing. I'm even drinking out my crypto XR cup right here. These
Don't
things
keep
are all
the.
around
Hang
my
on.
house.
This is useful here. Don't keep the prints in the tube too long. It might crack the ink after a while. Get them framed or in a portfolio. Thank you for that advice, Hob.
That is good advice. Yeah, they've been in the tube for a while. I must admit, my ones.
Yeah, same.
But at the same time, I don't want to take them out because I know it just.
Well, one
drop.
thing I'm sure that at least some of you know the guy on Twitter who calls himself what is it, Jedi Knight or something? Jedi something?
Yeah, I think it is
The
Jedi.
Dutch fella. We met him in Auxerre.
Did he have the pills on his t-shirt, or was that the other bloke?
Yeah, no, that's him. Yeah, that's
That is
Dive Jedi or
right,
something like
right. I
that.
think he's from Amsterdam as well.
Yeah, he's a Dutch fella. We met him in Auxerre. And he was telling us that he is a collector, a big art collector. And what he does is he never takes anything out of the tube. He buys it and he stacks it in the tube in his archive. So I get at what you're saying, Hob, and I'm going to take that into consideration because I do want to get my print framed. But at the same time, when I cross somebody called like Dive Jedi who collects art habitually and keeps it all in the tube, stacked in his little like warehouse or whatever he's got, well, that fills me with confidence that maybe mine's not. Oh, dude, what are you doing? What are you doing? Stop it!
So that's the one I've got there. I got 127 over here. And again,
You know what?
that has been out of the tube for a long time, but it's one of the best things I own. And that will stay in the tube till I have a place to put it.
I happen to know that my physical number is the same number that Dr. Prophet has in the digital. I happen to know that.
I remember that.
And I hit him up about buying mine, but he never bit the hook.
Catch up on these comments here because we're well behind by the looks of it. California here. Good man. Send the link. Oh, I should have sent you a link ages ago. Sorry, I didn't see that comment. Next time we're on, if you want to come, you're more than welcome. We have a look. I'm not going to stay on much longer here. In fact, just in case, I'll send you the link anyway. Let me go through. Just going through.
I'm thinking we're not going to get onto the hard topics tonight.
Well, we're 2 hours in, I think. So we've done a good stream so far. The only thing is, I was going to invite Dr. Strange in here, but we didn't see that comment quick enough. Otherwise, you would have been straight in here because obviously you've been in the.
I think we got rugged. Welcome to my ugly mug. Well, does that mean I have control of the conversation?
You know what? I've got a button on the side of my mouse. Every time I click it, it kicks me out of the stream. I'm not gonna lie. I've got a well updated mouse.
All right, I'm not gonna let you get out of it anymore, man. I want to touch on a couple of these things. All right,
I need to go through the comments and then I'm gonna head off probably.
Yeah, but the comments keep coming, man. The comments keep coming. Let's get onto it. All right. I'm not. You know what? I'm not even going to ask for your permission. I'm going to get onto it anyway. Here's a couple of the big things. Danny Boy Liak is back in the conversation. No. What do we think?
So
he's not coming with gentle tones either.
So with this one, you're gonna have to explain because I've missed the whole Danny Lilac.
Yeah, well, you know, I didn't see I didn't see everything either, but I saw a few things going around. Like, and I kind of got into it with him. No, I didn't really get into it with him. I had a little bit of a conversation with him. Ah, man, he's coming for VeVe, man. I'm telling you. He's down. He's coming for Randy. He's coming for Dr. Prophet. And look, it's time we start to face some harsh truths, all right? And I'm basing this on this whole Dapper Labs lawsuit. All right, you just had that got settled. They got settled under certain conditions. And look, I'm no lawyer, but from what I understood by the statement they put out about that settlement was that the thing that saved them in that lawsuit was decentralization, which we don't have. All right, so I'm not even joking here, man. I think VeVe could be in trouble.
I don't.
You don't.
So
Well,
no, I don't.
Let
me
all right,
explain.
let me put it differently. Let me put it differently.
Let me explain.
Hang
So
on, let me put it differently first.
let me explain. So back in the day, we made a video about that whole situation, the undercounter deals and everything that happened. None of that should have happened. But if Danny was to take that sort of situation, he would not win because the situation was rectified by the dodgy trades that happened at the time.
Back then.
He's got no legs to stand on at this point.
Oh, no, I see.
But we're not going to
get
get into that too deep because I've already done that video a year ago.
Okay,
and
all right, you don't want to do that. Okay.
And it's not worth mentioning, to be honest.
All right, okay.
But the only thing is, I see the Dapper Labs, the whole situation with them, but I think that was corrected by VeVe's part. So I reckon he's got no legs to stand on at this point. Like there was a deal made between them, and he received what he received. He traded what he traded. So I personally think no legs to stand on.
I can feel you don't really want to get into that, so we won't.
Well, the only thing is, it's like an hour and a half in. If we get into that, we're going to be getting into it for another 2 hours.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
And not only that, I've not caught up like you have. I'm blocked, so
yeah.
So at this point,
there's that too.
So I also need to know what I'm talking about before I talk about it.
All right, you know what? I think I might do my own stream to get into all that.
Well, your YouTube channel's been added to this. Also makes good music, by the way. So I should check that out.
Well, I have fun with it.
See,
I appreciated the compliment you gave me the other day. Just by the way.
What was that?
No, you were telling me how much you liked that track that I did and all that. And for me, it was just like a bit of fun.
It was a good track.
You're bigging me up.
That's the thing. You've got to promote more. And even at the time, you were like, yeah, you can use this for your video and stuff like that. And I would have done, but then you was like, yeah, I've got someone else making me a video. And I was just like, your problem. But no, it's a great track. So if you don't subscribe to Dukkencuvva, go over to his YouTube channel and subscribe.
Yeah, do it because listen.
In the post, the community post I put on YouTube earlier.
Well, here's the thing, man.
Go and follow him there. And the song is good, but like it's
not there anymore.
Good.
It's not there anymore.
No,
I took it down.
It's there. I see it this morning.
I took it down.
Oh, I'm not sure about that because I see it this morning. But yeah, there's nothing wrong with the song, nothing wrong with the track, and it's a good laugh. So anyway, let's go through this one more time.
Before you do the outro, let me just say there's some stuff that I'm gonna do a video about. I'm gonna do maybe a live stream or something. I've never done that before. My channel is basically inactive. I'm looking to change that. But I got some stuff to say that Bob seems to be a little bit squeamish about.
Not squeamish. Not squeamish. It's just it's like an hour and a half in, 2 hours in. A little bit tipsy at this point. Again, every time I drink out one of these Crypto XR cups, it's hard for me not to do the intro.
What do you got, like about 1,000 of those fucking things?
Yeah, I literally have got 1,000 of these.
Did I tell you, we left Ox out. Bob had a pile of those things that was taller than him.
That's a good thing about YouTube. You can't just be a drone. You've got to show the human side of it too. So with my YouTube, you can see the hard situations, you can see the correct situation, historical situations, get the good info, but you're also going to have a good laugh and see the human side of Bob in between, if that makes sense.
Fun is fun, man. That's what we're all here for.
So yeah, I'll just skip through these one more time, unless you want to read them for me at this point, because I'm a bit...
What do you got here? I mean, I ain't got my glasses on. I witnessed a comic book store owner in VeVe at his store on the phone with another store about VeVe. What does that mean? Marvel releasing comics same day stores do. I don't really understand that. I'm sorry, Zombie.
So we're well behind on the chat. I'm not going to lie to you. So this was our response to about the VeVe comics and stuff earlier. He's actually saying that he was showing the comic books guy literally the VeVe app on his phone and actually got another. Let me have a look. And about VeVe releasing comics the same day as stores do. It creates some urge. Yeah. So he's basically saying
I think I know where you're getting at.
Basically saying you can tie the physical release with the digital release.
And that's something I wanted to say to you before, actually. You brought up earlier the fact that you only have to be 13 to get onto the VeVe Comics app.
Yeah.
But if you want to trade that comic, you have to go to the VeVe app, in which case you need to be 18 plus. So you can buy that comic on the VeVe app and you own it on the VeVe Comics app, and you own it, but you can't do anything with it except read it. You're not old enough to be able to sell it, buy it, all that stuff.
Also, did you get that?
The freak, man, I saw that was going on, but I didn't pay any attention to it because I don't do comics, man. That's not my thing.
So I actually got the 5 comics. I put that on mine. So I signed up to the, well, I didn't sign up. I logged in, but I got the 5 comics for that as well. So that was also good. But I also think every comic in there should be on the VeVe app. That's kind of.
Is it not on the VeVe
No,
app?
because there was a Predator one that's not on the VeVe app. It was on that site. And it was so confusing to me. And considering I'm 2 years in at this point, I should not be confused by any of this. And it confused me to see you could buy different comics on that app than you can on VeVe. But then there's also like a paired situation where you can buy the comic on that app, but it also goes to VeVe, if that makes sense. It's a hard one to, it's hard to explain.
Screw it, man. Like with or without you, I'm doing a stream. I'm going to record tomorrow night. Man, you're doing my nut in.
Well, we've also got the Pokemon streams to come. We're also going to do another radio Twitter space because that was really fun. I'm not going to lie.
We've got to do that.
That was really good laugh, but we've got to find a better way.
We've got to figure out how to do it properly
without it sounding like crap.
That was fun.
It sounded like crap, but honestly, the songs, the picks, the meanings, the whole conversation in between was just crazy. We had Leela in there talking about Dance Monkey, and it was a really good stream, I must admit. Delco, good to see you. Hey, fam.
Hey, what was the last comment? Something about Chaz. Maybe the next one. Go past. Hey, fam. Go past that.
Way past that.
Go past that.
Oh, here we go.
Chaz, I believe
Bob I did not go that day. So I think it was Bob that went that day. And I only see him for 30 minutes, and I didn't even realize that was the artist at the time. The big people.
Never even met him.
So he was at the event, but he was only there for a couple of hours.
Oxale, you mean?
The worst thing is, I remember seeing the guy stood next to Sui, and I didn't relate that was the guy, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
and
right.
When we dealt with people at the event, and the whole host of the event was pretty much Nigella and Sui, well, Roy
and Nigella.
Yeah, Roy. So that was the people we dealt with, but I think that's the Web3 side of the whole artist.
That's the
print.
digital side.
I think that's the digital side, yeah. So obviously Bob and Chaz are the artists, Sue and Nigella are the digital side of that.
And they're absolute legends, by the way.
Yeah, also do a great job. And the plans, we went into their you was there, right? For that one.
No, I wasn't there. You were there with David and
Kelvin and David. So we went in there and they had their whole game plan written on the wall. And I'm telling you, if I could show you, I'd show you. But honestly, they had a plan. And it was a good plan. And the whole situation and some of the software they used, stuff like that. They had a bikini on the side, and that was how they started the business. They actually had scan codes in their bikinis, so you could tell they're authentic, and that's passed on to the London Police brand. And
these guys are all about Web3.
They do the digital side of London Police. So, and
even every from now on, it seems to me, I don't know if this is true, but it seems to me that since the London Police have gotten involved with Suye, even the physical releases they put out have a digital certificate that verifies the authenticity on the blockchain. It's incredible what they're doing. It's incredible.
Bruno's not wrong. Every time Bob
Bob
drinks,
drinks.
it gets harder to understand him. Yeah, my list starts to show a little bit more. So yeah.
I always forget that for Americans, your accent is a bit weird. For me,
Yeah,
it's normal,
not only
you know?
that, but I've got a lisp and it tends to come out a bit more when I've had a few
And you got a
beers.
bit of a hardcore accent, to be honest. But you know, for me, I grew up with that shit.
Let's go for zombie. Sue is two people, guy and girl. Sorry.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
it
There's
actually
D-Roy
is.
and
So,
Nigella.
yeah, good representatives of
And
company.
very good people.
Also,
both of them.
I've literally danced in a nightclub with both of them. I've ate pizza with both of them. And like, it's been a good laugh.
They're
And then
absolute stars,
they're
man.
definitely the one that's pushing. So the artists do the art, and that's probably the end of. Whereas Sue and Nigella are the digital side. Big aspect to that, I think.
And make no mistake, D-Roy, he knows his shit, man. He's from a Web3 background. He's a proper professional concerning Web3.
Yeah.
And that's why I always sort of like try to push the fact that he's mega bullish on VeVe, because this is not a guy who's just going to mess around with nonsense.
And he understands the technology.
And he understands where VeVe is going. And I think that carries a lot of weight for me personally, at least.
I mean, when we were there, he told us that he could probably improve the technology himself of how you could link items together. And I think that was a big thing. He understands the overall plan of the whole situation.
I'm not even joking when I think that the London police and Suye could save VeVe in that respect.
Yeah.
No joke.
And again, with me and you, I think it was Bob that was at the event. And I swear to God, I see him for about 5 minutes. The rest of the event, I see the other two representatives. And they've done a good job. So definitely pay them more money.
Man, absolute legends. I've got nothing bad to say about them, and I can't say enough good things about them. Really.
Yeah, I agree, 100%. And soon, I think it's July. I'm going back there in Amsterdam to go and see him.
Yeah,
so hopefully that's going to be. Everyone was supposed to come with us, but it's all been a bit disorganized. But yeah, it's going to be fun anyway. So yeah, got to go there anyway. And they've also been doing giveaways. I don't know if you've seen that. They've been leaving the cards around everywhere, leaving them in the airports in Amsterdam. Worst thing is, any other week I'd have been there, apart from that week. So I'm gutted about
I'm not speaking from a place where I have inside information or anything like that, but I'm telling you now, man. Again, this is unofficial information, but I'm absolutely convinced that owning their sets on VeVe is going to get you some airdrops or some kind of advantage, because these guys are dedicated, man.
Yeah.
And they want to reward their holders, whether it be on VeVe, whether it be their proper ETH drops, whatever it is. These guys are dedicated to their fans. So get on London Police, man. Don't sleep on that.
Well, the thing is about London Police as well. Like, ever since I met them, they've done everything well. So the community, they've done well with the community, and it's like the print. So the artwork itself is brilliant. Obviously, you can see that there.
You see that there? That sticker. That's the Web3 certificate that I was talking about.
So you can scan that right there.
That will be on a blockchain.
It's authentic, everything like that. I mean, that's quality. There was not one thing they missed. And then also, let me show you this as well. So also, we got this. So this was just for holding the set.
You opened it, you freaking maniac. Give me a second.
I wore this. So this, and I mean, even down to the packaging, for instance. So this was a free gift for holding the set. So I actually went to the event in Amsterdam or whatever to collect this ourselves. But the holders were getting posted this. Again, you can see by the package there, it's unique quality just by looking at that. And then you've got the actual box itself. I mean, look at that. And that was just for holding. So this is one of the first artists that has actually given you utility. And again, in here, you have the T-shirt itself. And I've got good memories in this T-shirt. I had to wear this in Amsterdam because,
it's only thanks to Bob that I even know what that looks like, because I got mine here, right? Let's see. Look, check this out. Mine is still sealed. Look at this. That's this is what we received.
Yeah.
I got my stuff in there. Hang on.
I had to wear it.
Look at that. You You got a seal on it. It's completely signed. I'm never taking that out, man.
And if you remember, when we went into the art studio that day, they had one of these on a mannequin. One of
I
these
wasn't there,
on a
man.
mannequin.
I wasn't there.
Sorry.
But here's the thing
Yeah.
that I want you guys to know.
I sent you the videos at the time. I sent you all the videos. I didn't send them to everyone else, but I sent them to you. And this was on one of the mannequins in the studio. So yeah, great collectible. And again, physical with a digital, extras just for the sake of it, posted all around the world, not just UK, not just America. It was all around the world, which was a big step up. A lot of the time you get American physicals only, and it's a round the world app. So you should have all of them. So let's have a quick look at the comments. 1 second. I think you're muted, mate. Are you with us? For some reason, you're muted. Duck, you muted, mate. I cannot hear what you're saying. Let's have a look at this. You muted. I'll just pull him up. 1 second. So Bruno 88, London Police collectibles are really cool, Bob. Awesome collectibles. And the technology side, I'm telling you, Roy knows what he's doing with that. Bob, stop talking. Let Dukkencuvva talk. No worries, Brune.
Whatever, man. It's just bro.
Here we go. You're back. I don't know what happened to your mic. It dropped
No,
down.
I don't either. But all I was saying before is that this thing here that Bob was showing off, that T-shirt, I've still got mine sealed and everything. This is not an external project, right? The only point I wanted to make is that this is not an external project. This is not a .eth project. We got that for owning the VeVe set.
Yeah.
Right? And there's more coming. Don't doubt it. These guys are all about that. If you buy the VeVe set, if you buy their external .eth stuff, it doesn't matter, man. Whatever, you will be rewarded for buying the London place. 100%.
I agree with that. And they've done it the best out of all the artists so far. And I love some of the artist stuff on there, but they've literally covered all bases.
This is to this
so they've
point.
Got the scan
this
code.
is really
the only. So they've got the physical digital. So they've got the physical digital event release as well, which is this. Had to be at the event to get this. You couldn't get it any other way. And then they've also got the scan code on the back to verify it's real. Also got the signature there on the bottom. I don't know if you can see that right there.
And to top it all off,
also signed, got the mint number on the bottom of there.
It's
They've done
numbered.
every
That's
single
special,
thing
man.
right. There's not one thing they didn't do right on that. You got the
one thing
NFT
you gotta
to
understand
go with
is like
that.
to see it on a screen like that, it looks like a poster, right? I'm telling you, if you see it, you feel the material. You see, this is a high quality art, man. This is not just a fucking poster like it looks like on screen, right? This is like proper, like legit art, for real.
I did not get a Genesis drop. Didn't you get the Genesis drop? Is that the one you brought with the key?
I got two of them, mate.
So well, I didn't actually get it myself because I didn't have the money at the time.
It's still minting,
and then I'm going to go there.
0.0777 ETH. 0.077 ETH. 777 ETH, sorry.
Which is what?
It's right now, I think that's around about $300 ish. But it's still mintable, man. I mean, you can still mint it without having to buy it on an opensea or some shit like that.
Didn't you buy two?
I got two of them, yeah. Man, I understand how important this thing is going to be. I'm not sleeping on that, man.
I don't agree with you. I agree with you even, sorry. But I just had less money this month.
Oh, man, I couldn't afford it either. You know, it's the fact that I bought that second one. That's the reason I'm not coming to Amsterdam.
Yeah, that's true. But I'm still going to Amsterdam. So anyway, I'm going to have to end it there because it's like 2 hours in, maybe a bit more than that. I'm a bit pissed.
Like 11
Dukkencuvva's a bit pissed. But it's been fun like always. And then we are going to try and find some way to do that radio show again because that was really quality. I'm not going to lie. That was a good laugh, good stream, just for the sake of it, sharing a bit of music and stuff like that. We are going to find another way to do that. We are also going to do the Pokemon stream later. That is actually done, edited, everything like that. I will actually open a pack just for the sake of it. So Paradox Rift, let's open a pack quickly before we go. And let's have a look. We'll try not to show you my horrible hands at this point. Yeah, what have we got there? Can't see that very well. If we've got a full art in here, we're winning.
I don't know what any of those things mean.
That's the good thing about 151. You know what they are. Come on, we need a full art. We need a full art. A full art. No full art. So we haven't got one of them. Anyway, got another couple of packs there to open. I don't know if you can see them, but yeah. We've got some more packs to open. But we'll do that next stream. So as always, it's been off the cuff. We're both a little bit drunk at this point, but it's been good. I think everyone in VeVe should show you the human side aspect of it as well. So we can all be the positive, the just information type people. But at the same time, I think to be real, you have to show the human side of you too. That's what the bobsales shorts was about in UXA. Show you the real side of people. So anyway, Dukkencuvva, thank you, my friend. You made some great points. Always good to stream with you, my friend. You got anything to say? I think he's died. So anyway, I've been your host, Bobsales. This time next year, we will be millionaires. A peace. Noosh. It will end in a minute.
Sorry.